95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
I think they're a good, solid football team. We got a test in front of us on Sunday night.
They're just not a very good team, and their quarterback's not very good.
Mike Danger.
It's not a tribute video at Highmark Stadium on Sunday night. It's more like a PSA. And you just have a montage.
Gene Battaglia.
I want to see Brian Daboll falling down in Miami.
Yeah.
Plenty of roster transactions to pass along to you.
I know the baseball series, playoff series are going on right now.
Astros lead is 9-1.
9 times.
Screw the Twins.
The Rangers are on to the ALCS with their Creed music.
Come on, Rangers, make us proud.
Come on, Marlins, make us proud.
I'm not a yacht rock fan.
Jack Eichel, the personality of a carrot.
95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
Good afternoon. Pull up a stool and welcome on into the Sports Bar. You found Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM, AM 950. The Fan Rochester and the free-to-download Odyssey app. Our stream is up. You can watch the Sports Bar at the Fan Rochester on YouTube and on Twitch, even on your smart device when you ask it to play 95.7 The Fan. Good day to you, Gene Battaglia.
Good day, Mike Danger. How are we today?
We're doing well. A little bit scattered, a little all over the place. Excited that last night hockey was back. I got to watch some NHL games. Got to watch my Blackhawks get their first win of the season. My favorite part of last night was as the Penguins were losing late in that game at PPG Arena, the home crowd started a chant of Fire Canada,
yeah.
which is fantastic. Yeah. I love that Steeler fans and Pittsburgh sports fans are the way that they are. Never change. Like the dialogue I was having on Sunday with my Steeler fan friends, you would have thought, they just beat their division rival. They just beat Baltimore at home, and they are not satisfied, never satisfied, want to fire Canada, hate this team, hate everything about Mike Tomlin.
I don't think the Steelers won that game. The amount of drops Baltimore had.
They won that game.
They did.
A loser is a loser.
The Baltimore Ravens handed it over on a golden platter to them, and I think smart Steeler fans recognize that.
Yes. That's fine, but a loser is a loser, and you got the win. And so it was a full circle moment when last night, as the Penguins were losing to Chicago again, the Fire Canada chants started ringing throughout the arena. Fantastic. So that was fun. We have Sabres hockey tomorrow night to look forward to. More NHL tonight. Yeah. Major League Baseball playoffs now. As we have the Rangers closing out their series against Baltimore. We've got a few great games happening today. So yeah, we're in peak sports calendar mode here, and it's fantastic that we're able to talk sports here in the Flower City with you every afternoon.
Yeah, you got 3 baseball games today,
right.
So that's fantastic. And then we roll into Thursday Night Football, tomorrow night the Chiefs. And I think we should just take a minute just to kind of say, all right, the Bills are coming off a loss where we're just, but you still live in a world, Bills fans, where you have to think back to the drought era. Like, you comfortably are going to win this game Sunday night. You cannot tell me that Tyrod Taylor is going to come in and outduel Josh Allen, or that Brian Daboll is going to scheme up all these great running plays for Saquon Barkley, or that Brian Daboll is going to know exactly the formula to confuse Josh Allen, and a 2-touchdown underdog is going to work over Sean McDermott on Sunday night.
All right, let's talk more about that. Here's what's on tap at Three Heads Brewing today. Skunk Black IPA. Discover why a hint of roasted malt is the perfect complement to big hop flavor. Get some at Three Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue today. And don't forget, a week from Friday, our next Friday Football Talk Live, Patriots Week, we will be at Three Heads live for Friday Football Talk Live. That's a week from Friday. Joining us later this afternoon to talk more Buffalo Bills at 4:25, the co-host of It's Always Game Day in Buffalo and the Odyssey app. We're going to be talking to Matt Beauvais.
Fresh back from London, so we'll ask him about the trip. I'm also kind of curious, too, like if that is going to be the stadium that the Bills are going to be getting here, Tottenham Hotspur, kind of a miniature version of it. Will we be satisfied? We'll get Matt's thoughts on what he saw over there. And I guess kind of moving ahead here is, well, there are going to be some lineup changes. There are some issues. Another injury on defense we learned of today. We'll get to that with Matt Beauvais, your co-host for Always Game Day in Buffalo. You can hear inside the Odyssey app. Matt Beauvais in the 4 o'clock hour.
We got to give you some winners in college football, in the NFL. We'll be joined at 3:25 later this hour, about 20 minutes from now, from the host of Send It In, Odyssey Sports Betting Insider, PJ Glasser, stops by. Insider calls are presented by BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app.
Oh, no, and the Ooh's lost. I'm not even doing that the right way. He's okay.
Yeah, we got to come up with a good one.
Yeah.
We got to come up with a good one to give PJ to set the tone. I'll do a little homework here, and we'll give.
We're open on formerly known as Twitter at the Fan Rochester. If you have any ideas, it's tough to top the Padres of Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis and Juan Soto in the city of San Diego.
Yeah, we'll give PJ a good name for a Baltimore accent. He'll drop one of those on us here coming up in about 20-25 minutes or so. You can join us on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line at 866-4FAN. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, the new location at 135 West Commercial Street in East Rochester. GoodSmokeBBQ.com. Again, 866-4FAN if you want to join us in the sports bar. So the report out of the Giants facility is that Daniel Jones not practicing today. He's got a neck injury.
It's more sore today than it was, and Brian Daboll did not deny that the team they could be looking at and bringing in a veteran quarterback. So to me, that's always the tell. If you're talking about bringing in a veteran quarterback, you just can't go out there with one. So it's looking like we're going to have the Tyrod show coming up. Why not? Like, it's a big reunion here.
We were just joking about this yesterday, that if the Giants go out there against the Bills and trot out Tyrod Taylor, it's like you're not going to see a tribute video to all the former Bills, current Giants. You're going to see a public service announcement. 33-year-old Tyrod Taylor lives in a shack in the Philippines. At night, he sleeps on a floor mat and eats only a bowl of rice. And for just the price of a cup of coffee a day, you can help Tyrod and countless other New York Giants to live a healthy, sustainable life.
It's like, what would be that would be the tribute video, right? Just here they are today and like, hanging their heads and sad and everything else.
Yes, then versus now. I actually feel bad for Brian Daboll because we all like Brian Daboll. We all respect the job that he did here as offensive coordinator. But, man, this is rough. This is going to be a rough stretch for the Giants here the rest of this season. There's just no talent on this team. You've got Saquon and
I'm going to give you a little positive spin, right? This is the schedule afterwards. You're home against the Commanders. Home against, well, technically you're home. The Jets-Giants game we get once every 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
Then you play the Raiders on the road. All right, you're at Dallas. The Commanders again. The sad Patriots. The Packers, who all of a sudden they look sad. Point is, all right, it looks bad right now, Giant fans, but maybe you come out of this, maybe you can sneak in and maybe you're in the graphic at the end of the year.
Nothing about this team screams farting around.
No.
Nothing about this team screams farting around. I mean, the way they laid down at home for their first 2 home games, the idea that you've got a lineman calling out fans, calling them, burger flippers and, come on. This team is lost, and you're losing your quarterback, and you're going to have to start Tyrod Taylor, which nobody wants to see or needs to see. You really have Saquon Barkley, and that's it. I mean, like, if you're Sean McDermott and you know that it's Tyrod Taylor behind center, you can really if you're a Buffalo Bills third stringer or practice squad player, like, this is your opportunity. If Balin Spector actually does come off of IR and becomes active and you can use him, like, play Balin Spector. You could treat this as a preseason game. You could give these Dorian Williams. Let's see how you look this week versus last week. You make A.J. Klein active today off of the practice squad. Like, if A.J. Klein plays, I'm not nervous. I'm okay. A.J. Klein against the Giants? Sure. Go ahead. Play against the Giants. Give them the reps. Let them get those reps. Let them get that experience. this is a JV squad that's going up against the Buffalo Bills this
Which would make this, the worst loss in regular season history?
If
for
the Bills lose,
this game?
yes. If the Bills lose to this pathetic excuse for a football team, it is the worst loss in Buffalo Bills regular season history.
See, I would say that the Patriots is equally pathetic. If you're just looking at the numbers and the analytics and everything else, there are some bad teams in the NFL this year. Giants being one, New England being another. And these next 2 weeks, we're going to have the same thing. We're going to come back Monday and we'll be like, all right, yeah, they won. Did we learn anything? No.
I think the Patriots, I know that the last 2 losses have been bad, but a lot of that has been miscues on offense, pick sixes. Like, I still want to believe, and maybe I'm naive, I still want to believe that the New England defense can surprise some people and actually maybe win a game or 2 for them. I have no faith and confidence in their offense.
Look, their first-round pick is gone. Their best pass rusher is gone. Yeah. So, yes, under normal circumstances, maybe. No, if you lose to Tyrod Taylor, this would be the worst loss in regular season history for the Buffalo Bills. Honestly. Let's refresh your memory on Tyrod. Great heart, good leader, never was out of line in terms of being a quarterback in the locker room or whatever. Exactly what you would want as a backup quarterback. Tyrod is flawed. He does not throw the intermediary routes. You know who knows that? Who should remember that? Sean McDermott should know that. So Tyrod's game is this. He's good on the deep ball. They'll take some shots downfield, I'm sure, but honestly, the only way I could see this is, somehow you're taking advantage of these young linebackers, and it's the Saquon show. That's it. Honestly, because Tyrod is not beating you. It would be Saquon Barkley. So devise a game plan where you're making sure that Barkley is not. And the Bills have done that. They did that against Jacobs and the Raiders. Yeah. I'm not going to put. Sure, ETN got his yards, but the game was in hand at that point. I still think this Bills run defense will be just fine against Saquon Barkley.
And you have a quarterback in Trevor Lawrence with the Jaguars that you have to respect and honor. You don't really have that with Tyrod Taylor behind center. 35 seconds of Sean McDermott from earlier today on the New York Giants. It's Wednesday. Time for some McDermott McLies.
All right. McDermott has done something new in recent years where he will just take the question and just draw it out and restate things, as you already know. So I'm actually going to go under on this. He will state facts, and there won't be many lies. I'm going to go with 5 lies in 35 seconds.
I think they're a good, solid football team. They've had some injuries, and when you look at them last season, they went in, won in the wild card round out in Minnesota, I believe it was, and they're a good football team. They've got good schemes, good coaches, and we got a test in front of us on Sunday night. We got to focus on ourselves, number one, and get ourselves ready to go, and look at some of this personnel that we've got going in there and get better fundamentally, get better technique-wise, and it should be an exciting night in Western New York here and on Sunday night here.
6.
Oh! 6.
I'm off.
The over hit. Should be an exciting night. No, it shouldn't. Should not be an exciting night.
They had a good football team. No, they don't.
I should be in bed by halftime, Coach. Let's be honest. I should be in bed by halftime.
Why does he do that? Sean, they beat the Vikings in the postseason. We know. I think they beat the Vikings in the postseason. Yeah. I don't know.
I think they made it to the playoffs last year.
What is that? That's his new thing. Why aren't you confident?
It's almost like a humble, shucks, I don't really know. But, you guys are smarter than me. I'm sure you could tell me. That's good. That's good. We got 6 out of that one. The coaches are good. They're a good football team. If they lose, by the way, we're talking all of this on a Wednesday. If they lose to Tyrod and the Giants,
we're interrupting the Buffalo Bills post-game show, and we're going to come in and do the sports bar at midnight.
Emergency episode. Bar, yeah. An emergency episode called 911. Fire up the bat light, and Gino and I will be in here, and we will be commiserating together. There's no chance.
Which we've only done one emergency sports bar.
We got pulled off from vacation.
Right. I'm listening to the buzz, and I forget who was doing it. Like, and the Buffalo Bills have just fired Rex Ryan. I'm like, I'm not looking at my phone, not looking at anything.
Yeah. That was an emergency episode of the Sports Bar. It would pull us from vacation during our December holiday. That's Sean McDermott on the New York Giants, and just to kind of test you again, Gino.
All right,
I've got just over a minute 5 on Josh Norman.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put it at 8. I'm also going to put in a bonus prop bet. The bonus prop bet being he's going to know the fact and he will be dumb about it. I think he was in Carolina last year. Something along those lines.
All right.
So I wish we had a different sound effect, like a buzzer or something like that. Like if you hear like Sean McDermott go to the you know the fact, but you pretend you don't know the fact card. That'll work.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, similar. We'll see. I haven't. I just saw J-No in Street.
You know what? I'm sorry. This is a minute 50. This is a long clip. I don't want to listen to a minute 50 of Sean McDermott talking about Josh Norman. Does that make me a bad fan? Because now it's just going to be droning on about Josh Norman and how great Josh Norman.
Just do it. Like I will leave it up to you to pull the ripcord on this. I just want to see if he goes to the All-Shots.
All right, let's see how many lies we detect.
Yeah, similar. We'll see. I haven't. I just saw J-No in street clothes here, so I haven't been on the field with him yet. But another guy that still has the passion and desire to play, obviously, and we'll see what type of shape he's in here. And he's a guy that's always brought a lot of juice, a lot of energy to the team and teams that he's been on. And he does a great job taking the ball away, and he's a sound tackler. So we'll see where it goes physically at this point from here.
Was part of that move, Sean, maybe when he's 35? Was part of it maybe be a mentor to these young guys? I don't know what he's got left to play, but
yeah, he's been through you mentioned the arc. It's even before that. When we were in Carolina, he got off to a little bit of a slow start. We got off to a little bit of a slow start in terms of just him not being on the field early, and then he learned some things and adjusted to the way he needed to adapt his style of play to the team, and the rest is history. He went and did well and above any what we thought he was capable of because of the work he put in. He was so committed to his craft, but the credit goes to him just from the adjustments he made early on because he wasn't on the field early on, and those are great lessons he can share with young players.
With Kyer, is that a player that you look to? Because Eric talked about needing to keep his confidence up, and
it's to me not the reason, the primary reason why J-No's here, but it is a secondary reason that he can, impart wisdom, perspective.
That's a lie.
That sometimes can't always come from a coach. It's powerful when it comes from a teammate or a player that's played your position and been there and done that before.
Okay. I'm glad you played that the whole way through, and at least McDermott kind of confessed, and he actually gave you some background. So here was the background on Norman's rookie year, and here is the difference. Ready? Norman was not a first-round pick. He was a fifth-round pick. He was pressed into service 12 games that season, but I'm reading this report from the Bleacher Report, rookie year. This is going back to 2012. Started 12 games that season, but his coaches were troubled by his lack of discipline. Quote Ron Rivera, his playing style was high risk, high reward. You could tell you watched him in college. He liked to do his own thing. Maybe the rest of the team was in zone. He was in man, that type of stuff. Does this sound familiar, Mike Danger?
Yeah. It sure does.
Yeah, and you're going to tell me, Sean, that, you know what? That's the secondary reason. No, this is
the primary reason.
This is
It means more what he's doing here, and I don't hate what he's doing here. Like the Josh Norman, we can joke about it like it's ridiculous, but I get what he's doing here. What he's doing here is he's trying to get through to a player who is done listening to his message. If Kyer Elam won't listen to Sean McDermott, maybe he'll listen to a player who went through something very similar to what Elam is going through right now. And I didn't get on the field right away. I was a 5th-round pick, and I had to earn it. And you got to do the same thing. And I was a guy that wanted to play man instead of zone. But I adjusted. And when I adjusted, I got better. And when I got better, I got paid big time. That's all this is. And the moment he was signed, as funny as it is to think of Josh Norman being on this roster, it's not because of anything other than his ability to potentially be a new voice, a new message for Elam, for Benford, for the young guys, for the guys that might not fully understand what Sean McDermott is trying to get them to do.
I think we're fine with this, right? As long as he's not on the active roster.
Right. As long as we don't see him on the field. Because if we see him on the field, then something has gone terribly wrong. All right. Before we get to PJ, quickly, we're going to just deviate for a second here because we've done McDermott McLies in the past, but we know how influential a head coach can be inside a locker room. And we know how much a coach does his job and coaches his players, and these players know what to say and what not to say. I've got 45 seconds on with Josh Allen on the New York Giants defense.
We're gonna do Allen's. What would be the alliteration? We have McDermott McLies. Allen's.
I don't know.
Allen's ad libs. I don't know. Whatever.
Just far truths.
Yeah.
Complete and blatant lies from Josh Allen on the New York Giants defense.
7
in 45 seconds. Let's go.
I mean, it's in terms of what they're doing. There's a lot of stuff that we used to do. Now we've done a good job of switching things up, and Dorsey's done a good job of rolling with what the league's doing and trying to figure out what these defenses are doing. The league as a defensive. And the schematics of things has changed over the last couple of years. Not seeing as much junk Tampa anymore. It's more of a quarters shell, playing some palms on the outside. So we've been trying to roll with that and change with that.
Lost the bet here.
But in terms of code words and all that stuff, we're gonna have to change some things because I'm sure that those DBs and people have heard what we've said. Maybe they've switched it. I don't know. So we'll see.
Oh, 0. Oh. I was expecting, great defense, great this, great that.
You heard the call, the LeBron James call on the field on London on Sunday, right? Did you hear that when they were at the line of scrimmage and Josh Allen called out LeBron James?
No.
It's similar. The audible call, the check, the way that Manning always used to do Omaha. They call it LeBron James. Everybody's trying to figure out what LeBron James means when they call LeBron James, and all we can get is that's one of their considered to be one of their best plays that they want to associate it with the GOAT, the guy that they believe is the GOAT. So be listening for LeBron James in Josh Allen's calls here come Sunday night. Maybe we'll see a really, really good play follow that, even though I don't remember seeing a really good play after they called LeBron James against the Jags on Sunday. We got to take a break and come back with PJ Glasser. He is the host of BetQL's Send It In. We'll get you some winners in college football, the NFL, and we've got 3 postseason games in Major League Baseball to discuss with PJ. Next in the Sports Bar, Danger and Battaglia, the Fan, Rochester.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more straight talk. Now you can get a
update.
Buffalo Bills had just a walkthrough today. Corner Dane Jackson only billed not to participate. Jackson has a foot injury. Josh Allen talking about seeing his former offensive coordinator.
Just dap him up, give him a big old hug. I know, he's meant so much to me in my football career and in my life, for that matter. So excited to see him.
Brian Daboll now the head coach of the New York Giants. The Giants may be without their quarterback. Daniel Jones not practicing today with a neck injury. If Jones cannot go, it'll be Tyrod Taylor starting against his former team. 4 p.m. for our pregame coverage coming up on Sunday. 8:10 the kickoff from Highmark. 3 games in the baseball playoffs. The Braves and Phillies playing in the National League. The Astros with a chance to advance over the Twins. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader. The Fan, Rochester.
The beer is cold and the wings are hot. You're in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Yeah, I mean, we're aware. I mean, when you have people leave your place or you leave another place, it's, that's what happens. Good things happen when you're productive. And so he went on to get a head coaching job. But we've coached against coaches before that we've been around. And so you're always aware of it, Mark, I think is the biggest thing. But our focus respectfully needs to be on us.
Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott. Yeah, Brian Daboll knows the tendencies of the Buffalo Bills. They'll face off against each other Sunday night. You'll be able to hear the action on the Fan Rochester with our pregame coverage Sunday afternoon starting at 4 o'clock. We're joined now by the host of Send It In on BetQL, Odyssey Sports Betting Insider PJ Glasser. Insider calls are presented by BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app. PJ, before we get to your favorite plays and get some winners out of you, Gino and I have really been racking our brain here in the sports bar, trying to come up with potential replacements for a Bills linebacker who was injured. Maybe you heard of the Bills linebacker?
I think of this guy. Matt, who was the Bills linebacker that got hurt?
He's really good. All pro, too. Got hurt there in London. Did you hear of that guy?
I did, guys. That would be Matt Milano.
All right, the bonus credit. All right, so we're trying to rack our brain here. Now, this guy was still in the league last year. He started out with Buffalo, was traded for LaShawn McCoy, bounced around between the Eagles, the Dolphins, the Saints, was really good.
Maybe he could be brought in as like a veteran guy, like a veteran voice in the locker room. You remember who we're talking about, PJ?
You guys actually stumped me with that one. I don't remember this guy.
Oh, gosh. Ready? Kiko Alonso.
Yes. Very good, Gino. That was nice. That was nice.
So ridiculous. Poor PJ comes in here and he's credible and he knows his stuff and he gives us winners and we reduce him down to his Baltimore accent.
Yeah, I know.
We love you, PJ. We appreciate you playing along. All right, can we start before we get to football? Look, there are 3 very compelling matchups in Major League Baseball. We know that the Rangers are advancing. You get the Phillies at home. You've got the Twins looking to stay alive. You've got the Dodgers looking to stay. What's your take on what we have here in the divisional series that remain, PJ?
Yeah, guys. So the Braves-Phillies series, it's awesome. I mean, it could go the distance, all 5 games. You just wonder if the Phillies really missed an opportunity. I mean, they were up by 4 in that game. They were shutting out the Braves again. And then we were just reminded of how quick Atlanta's offense can strike. I just kind of think after that game, the way it ended with the double play, Atlanta rolls. For the rest of the series, I like them today, plus 105 on the money line. I like the Twins to bounce back as well, and I like the under. I think if you like the Twins, it correlates to the under, guys, right? The Astros have the better lineup. Twins have the better pitching staff. You think about those couple wild card games against the Blue Jays. Those were low-scoring, dominated by their pitchers. So I would look at maybe a correlation. You can parlay the 2 Twins on the money line and that under 8. And then I like the over in Dodgers D-backs tonight. How many times do we see a total in playoff baseball at 9.5? This was 10 earlier in the day. We know how much the Dodgers pitching staff has struggled in the first couple innings against Arizona. The Snakes are back home tonight It's Lance Lynn against Brandon Pfaadt.
Ooh.
So I think both of those guys could give up some runs. So we're going over 9.5 in Dodgers D-backs.
Yeah, geez, Lance Lynn's still doing that. I wouldn't want him in an elimination game. Good luck to the Dodgers tonight. Turning our attention here to Saturday football, and my gosh, Alabama is out of the top 10, and you know, maybe they're out of the national championship picture here, but they're back home. And they're giving 20 points here to Arkansas. So in the old days, we wouldn't think twice about this. But, PJ, where are you leaning on this one?
Gene, you know, the days of Alabama just showing up and beating everybody by 40 points, those days are over, right? I mean, those teams, you guys know I love betting spots, and I love looking for maybe sandwich spots or situational type spots. I think it's a great sandwich spot to fade Bama. You're coming off the big win against A&M. You have Tennessee next week, which is a huge rivalry. And it's an 11 a.m. local kick, sleepy start for the Tide, right? Maybe you get off to a little bit of a rough start against Arkansas, who only lost to LSU by 3, only lost to Ole Miss by 7. I don't think they win the game. I think they can keep it close. A couple of years ago, KJ Jefferson, who's still the quarterback at Arkansas, went to Bryant-Denny, and he put up like 34 points against a good Bama defense. So he knows he can have success. He's one of the few that has success against Bama's defense. I like Arkansas to keep it close, fellas. I would take the 19.5.
Last week, PJ, you told us to keep a close eye on Georgia Tech. Well, we did, and we saw a fireable offense at the end of that game. Yet here we are.
Man.
We're talking Miami and UNC, North Carolina now in the ACC. North Carolina fresh off of that thumping of Syracuse. Which way are you leaning between these two?
So, guys, what's funny, my rationale for that game last week and why I like Georgia Tech was they were looking ahead to the Miami game the week before when they played Bowling Green. They were 3-touchdown favorites. They lose the game outright. We get more value on the spread. They show up with a great performance, and like you said, Cristobal with just an all-time blunder at the end of that game. Everybody's out on Miami right now, right, guys? Nobody wants to back them. The Cristobal story blew up over Twitter. Obviously, North Carolina has Drake May. Guys, this line is out of control. If Miami would have rolled Georgia Tech, this thing's closer to a pick 'em. Miami might be favored in the game. Like the fact that UNC's favored and we're getting the key number of 3.5. Love the Canes this week to bounce back. I take them outright plus 150. You guys know I love looking for these spots. When a team's looking ahead, they lose outright. We come right back with them. Give me the Canes.
Yeah, you hit that one last week, but who could have imagined the way you would have it all happened? PJ, here in Rochester Saturday night, we got Notre Dame hockey, which is kind of cool. We'll have a sold out arena. They're playing RIT, and for the 20-25% Irish fans that are going to be in the arena, they're going to be looking at their phone. Notre Dame football, huge game against USC. USC getting points. USC, this is like, hey, we've heard about Caleb Williams. Now here he is on national television. So, honestly, am I foolish for thinking take USC in the points here?
Guys, this game, I keep going back and forth on. I've been wanting to fade USC for a while. I think they're frauds. I've been saying that for a while. The offense is elite, but it's just the same story with Lincoln Riley teams. His defense can't cover. They can't tackle. They can't stop good teams. You just wonder if Notre Dame is out of gas. Like their last 3 games, guys, Ohio State at home, you have to go on the road to play Duke. That's their Super Bowl. College game days there. Then you play an undefeated Louisville team in prime time. They beat you. Like, is Notre Dame able to rally the troops one more time? Keep in mind, guys, they started the season out in Ireland against Navy. Haven't had a bye week yet. And then they just played those 3 games like I mentioned. You get USC this week. So this is a pass for me. I would lean towards Notre Dame just because I really want to fade USC, and I think Notre Dame's better. But I'm concerned, guys, that the Irish they're out of gas. They don't have much left in the tank.
What do we got there in the Pac-12 between Chip Kelly's UCLA Bruins and Oregon State, PJ?
Love the under in this game, guys, 54.5. You think UCLA, you think Chip Kelly, you think offenses, you think scoring a ton of points. Fellas, they got a top 5 defense in the country. They haven't given up 17 points or more in a game all season. Meanwhile, Oregon State's one of those teams. They play a lot different at home than they do on the road. At home, in the 3 games, they've only given up a total of 23 points this season. This total is basically just like saying that, this is taking all the data from every Oregon State game. But when you really look between the numbers and you see how they perform offensively and defensively on the road compared to at home. You combine that with UCLA and how great their defense is. Love under 54.5, guys, this week.
We're talking to PJ Glasser, your host of Send It In. You can catch every weekday on the BetQL network. So as we turn our attention here to the pros, PJ, and I'm not sure what is going on with the Cleveland Browns and their quarterback, Deshaun Watson, where last week, hey, he's cleared. Well, no, I don't feel good, and I don't know what his status is coming up here. So are the Niners and Browns a game that you want to stay away from, or do you see value in playing this one?
I think if you like the Niners, Gene, I would hop on it now, anything under the 7, because if Watson's ruled out and they go with DTR, then San Francisco is going to be 7, maybe even 7.5 or 8, depending how much it gets bet up. Whereas if you still are holding out hope a little bit for Watson, maybe you keep waiting until kickoff on Sunday. Or if you think DTR is going to play again, you just keep waiting. Like, I want to bet the Browns in this game, guys. They're off a bye. They have a great defense. And San Francisco, I mean, we just all saw what they did to Dallas, right? So everybody obviously wants to keep betting this team. They're the best team in football. They're great offensively, defensively. I think it's a good spot for the Browns, though. But if you're like me and you want to take a shot with Cleveland, I just wait. There's no rush to bet this game because it's looking like Watson's probably not going to play, and we're going to get a bigger number.
We got a close look at the Jags last Sunday here in Bills country, PJ. In a divisional game in the South, AFC South, between the Jags and the Colts with no Anthony Richardson, Gardner Minshew. Is this a letdown spot for the Jags?
I think it is, guys. You know, I was on last week. I told you I liked the Jags against the Bills for kind of the same reasons. Jacksonville was already in London. Bills were coming off that big win against Miami, and they looked sleepy in that first half. I'm sure you guys have talked about it on your show all week. Now we get the Jags, who have been out in London for 2 weeks. Now they got to come back home. They got to get their body clocks adjusted. They got to get used to Eastern time zone again. Divisional matchup. And I actually like that it's going to be Gardner Minshew instead of Anthony Richardson because they've already seen Richardson play. I think one of his biggest assets is not seeing him, not understanding how physical he is, how deceptively fast he is. I'm rocking with the Colts here at +4. I think they could win the game outright against Jacksonville.
Yeah, PJ Danger hit this one on Monday. I'm like, I know home underdog on Monday Night Football. Yeah. And then there were the Raiders winning somehow in an ugly game. So here we are again. But it's not going to be a big spread here. Chargers are at home. It's Dallas on the road giving 2. But is this really a road game here for Dallas? I would picture SoFi Stadium being at least half Cowboy fans, if not more. So where do you see the value in this game, Cowboys-Chargers on Monday Night Football?
Well, guys, these are the things I look for. I mean, Dallas is coming out a blowout loss, and whenever Dallas gets blown out, it's always much bigger than any other team, right? They're obviously get so much media coverage. People are just waiting to hate on Dak Prescott. They're waiting for Dallas to choke. I just think that game last week was more about how good San Francisco was and how much they have their number. Now, the thing you're concerned with Dallas is they beat New England and the 2 New York teams this season, the Jets and the Giants. Really don't have a win that you can hang your hat on. Chargers are coming off a bye. I just think this game's going to be close. I think it's going to come down to the wire, and I just don't trust the Brandon Staley team to pull it out against a good team. I like Cowboys on the money line, -130.
PJ, I feel like we've got some winners to deal with here as we look ahead, not just to tonight's action in Major League Baseball, but also Saturday and Sunday, another great weekend of football, and we can't do it without you. Make sure you let our audience know now. The floor is yours. Tell us a little bit more about Send It In here that we can check out in the Odyssey app.
Yeah, guys, you can go to the Odyssey app. You can go to twitch.tv/BetQL. You can go to YouTube, search Odyssey Sports. We're streamed 30 minutes, 1 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's an interactive show. We love when people listen, chime in with comments, bets, questions that they have. You can catch us Monday through Friday, so hopefully everybody tunes in.
Well, PJ, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you real quick. Giants-Bills, the line I'm looking at right now on BetQL has the Giants getting 14 points. Does this scream backdoor cover maybe, or is this one you wouldn't want to touch here for that reason?
It does. I mean, the thing about the Bills, and you guys know this, when they play really bad teams, I mean, they usually just beat the crap out of them. So we've already seen them do that to Washington. We've seen them do it to Vegas. So you would probably lean towards the Bills, but I'm with you, Gene. I mean, that is so many points. I get worried about the back door. My favorite play is Bills team total over 29.5. I mean, that Giants defense, they felt like they played okay against Miami, still gave up 31 points. Now you got to go play against the Bills, who are obviously great at home. So I like that team total over, guys, 29.5.
PJ, you're the best. Appreciate the time as always, bud. Let's talk again next week.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me.
There he is.
Thanks,
PJ
PJ
Glasser. He's the host of BetQL's Send It In. Odyssey Sports Betting Insider and Insider Calls are presented by BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app. PJ just gave you some winners. Go make some money.
I like that. 29.5 for the Bills team total. Yeah. Are the Bills getting 4 touchdowns and a field goal in this game? I would think.
You would think. It's the NFL, man. It's a crazy, crazy world. You would think. I mean, what did we do? We just spent 20 minutes to start the show talking about how bad this Giants roster is and how if the Bills were to lose, it would be the worst loss in Buffalo Bills regular season history.
Can we go back to something? Because I was not in on Monday. You were with Bo. Has there ever been a worse loss than the Georgia Tech win over Miami?
The way that ended.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's a fireable offense.
If you missed it, Miami has the football. There's 40 seconds left in the game.
Kneel.
They have the ball in plus territory. Kneel. Game over.
Just kneel.
If they hand it off one more time, it's a fumble. And then in 37 seconds, they go the length of the field the other direction.
Yeah. Absolutely boneheaded. Just a fireable offense. Zero awareness. Zero awareness.
You would think coaches are at the top of their profession. They would know what to do in this instance, and no.
That said, I like what PJ had to say. I like Miami to bounce back. I like them against North Carolina on the money line.
Like North Carolina, don't be fooled ooh, we beat Syracuse.
What I love about that is you're getting value. Miami is not as bad as the end of that game. They're a good team. PJ was saying last week at this time how Miami might be the best team in the ACC. Yeah, one boneheaded play moves the line so far in one direction that now you can see a path to value and you can actually beat the books, which is why we like to have PJ on with us. So I like that. If you're just joining us, PJ says fade Alabama. He likes Miami on the money line Saturday. And that under UCLA, Oregon State, UCLA with a sneaky good defense. When you think Chip Kelly, you don't normally think about a team with a good defense, but that's what he has with his Bruin squad this year. A really good defense that could slow down Oregon State. So going with the under in UCLA and Oregon State. We've got takes on tap next in the sports bar. It's time for I'll Drink to That.
Yeah, I think that we have a lot of people that go out for college football on Saturdays. Have you done that? A lot of people do it for Sunday, of course. But if you hit it right Saturday, it can be fun. And we do have a lot of Ohio State fans in the area. But I'm going to tell you why. It's highly, highly unlikely you'll be able to find the Ohio State game at any establishment. And I think it's actually a warning for a Buffalo Bills game later in the year, as we might have reached a tipping point here in terms of all the platforms. And also, who is the biggest jerk owner in the NFL today? Well,
line them up.
Yeah, I'm going to make my case why there's a coach in the league right now that I believe is a one and done.
It's almost like he's using safe words. It's a cry for help. We've got to get him out of there. I'm not a doctor, but I'll play one on the radio next. There's a quarterback who is ailing in the NFL, and I'm going to ask for a little bit of help from maybe a medical professional who can help steer him in the right direction so we can get him back on the field. We'll get to that and more next. I'll Drink to That is on the way in the sports bar. Danger and Battaglia on the Fan, Rochester.
Odyssey has sports for every fan.
Asking it to play 95.7 The Fan.
Time for some takes on tap in the sports bar. We play I'll Drink to That, Danger and Battaglia.
You kind of figured that Carolina Panthers owner David Tepper was kind of a jerk. Remember that?
Wait, hold on. Are you saying a billionaire owner of an NFL franchise could have questionable character? How dare you, sir?
No, I'm talking like as compared to other owners. Like if you put him like on tiers right now, he might be the biggest a-hole of them all.
They're all a-holes, so this is an a-hole tier we're talking about.
Yeah.
So he's a tier 1 a-hole. In terms of NFL owners.
Yeah, because, I mean, I like at the bottom, I think probably Mark Davis is an a-hole, but he's just kind of like a guy that goes and plays the slots.
Or Stephen Ross feels like a tier 1 a-hole.
Lerner in Cleveland.
Tier 1 a-hole, absolutely.
Who the son in Houston.
Tier 1 a-hole.
Jerry.
I'm okay with Jerry.
Kraft.
I'm okay with Kraft.
Terry.
Yeah, I'll put him with Jerry and Kraft.
Yeah, they're on that level.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's another. Kroenke's tier 1.
Woody Johnson feels like he might be a tier 1 a-hole, walking around with that cheesy-ass bling that he wears to try and relate to his players. What are you doing, man? You're a billionaire owner of a football team. Act like it. What are we doing?
Yeah, I'm sure we're missing other tier, like the Wilf in Minnesota.
They're all a-holes.
Yeah.
Tier 1 a-holes, though, I hear what you're saying. The Lerner family, yes. And, no, did I say the Lerner family?
Yeah, that's
in Cleveland, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, who else are we putting on that list?
Well, Snyder was the king, but
Well,
I
of
don't know what to make of the guy that took over yet.
Yeah.
Arthur Blank is on that Jerry Jones tier.
Yeah. So let's go to Carolina.
Go to Carolina. When David Tepper, remember he was starting to build the practice facility, and he stopped it. He pulled right out. I'm like, nope, sorry, I need more money to do this. Nope, we're gonna. So there's just a big mound of dirt and some, an unfinished project. Like, so we knew that David Tepper from that story was a jerk, but. Listen to this quote, or I'm going to read you this quote more accurately, from Frank Reich, the current head coach of Carolina, about just how hands-on Tepper is. Quote, his philosophy, meaning Tepper's, is that he's going to engage. It's only been a short experience, but it's been a really good experience. It hasn't been fun. I wouldn't characterize them as fun meetings, but those meetings make me better, and I trust make us better.
That's a cry for help.
Frank Reich is a gentleman. He's just a very gentle man. Those meetings make me better. I trust make us better. No, they don't. Like David Tepper is going to teach you about football. No, he's not. I read that quote, and I'm convinced that Frank Reich is one and done in Carolina.
Robert Tepper's who? That's the guy that wrote a song or did it. So we've gone down
way
this.
out. There's
yes,
no easy way
that's
out.
right.
The Rocky
song. Yeah, that's Robert Tepper.
Yeah,
we have Robert Tepper on the mind when we talk David Tepper. David Tepper saying, having these meetings, it's saying up front, I'm hands-on. I'm going to engage. Frank, blink twice if Tepper is holding you hostage. The safe word is Newton. The safe word is Newton. Can we hear a Newton from Frank Reich and get him out of there? There's a part of me that wants to feel sympathetic, but there's another part of me that imagines that David Tepper is very direct and probably said to Frank Reich up front, I'm going to engage. I'm a hands-on owner. And if you're Frank Reich and you hear that, run. Don't take the job. Run, because you know how this goes. If you're a hands-on owner in the NFL and you don't let your football guys do their football things, your team is not going to be a success.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is, okay, I got to sit down with the owner and answer his questions every day about what happened here on 3rd and 7.
Like, the owner knows more about money. The owner knows more about business. The owner does not know more about football than Frank Reich. Let Frank Reich be Frank Reich. Let your football guys be football guys. You know about running the operation. You know about systems. You know about balancing a spreadsheet. Stay out of the football affairs. The teams that do that, the owners that are hands off, I think generally are the teams that come across as less dysfunctional and win more. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like when you have an owner that's, what he's saying here is that, we meet with him and those meetings aren't fun because he wants to engage. I wonder how many times Frank Reich has told him, dude, back off.
Back off. Just to be clear, because I malaprop there. David Tepper, we don't like. Robert Tepper, pretty cool.
Remember that? Yeah. This is peak 80s music, 80s movie montage music.
So in this part of the film in Rocky IV, Adrian tells Rocky, "You can't win." And he's so angry, he just gets in his sports car and starts speeding around. Right. And then the flashbacks of everything.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's classic 80s montage. Like, what I don't like about Rocky IV, if I can be... This is pretty good.
This is good. And you did not hit the post.
No, I was just steamrolling all over him. The thing that I was going to say is, and the reason why I like Rocky 3 more than I like Rocky 4 is Rocky 4. All Rocky 4 is a constant montage. It's just one montage after another montage after another montage. It does everything that Rocky 3 did brilliantly and just drives it into the ground. Just absolutely drills it into the ground. Like, we're going to make every montage that much more graphic and that much more intense, because the montages in 3 are fantastic. The villain in 3, Clubber, better than Drago. I'm sorry.
Now that you say that, I think there are 3 montages. There's the one after, he dies in the one.
Yeah.
Apollo dies. Then the Robert Tepper song in the middle. And then you go over to Russia and the training montage.
Of course.
Drago.
Right. All you need is you don't even need, you just need a good montage. And I'm trying to remember how many montages there are in 3, but 4 just drills it into the earth. And so it's like, all right, you found a formula, and the formula worked in 3, and you're going to do it again. And it worked in 4, but it's just too much for me. It was just overkill. It was overkill with the montages in 4, although I do, if we're comparing, and again, this is why 3 is superior. Better montage music.
No.
Tepper or Eye of the Tiger. It's not even close.
Okay, so that, I'm torn there, because obviously Eye of the Tiger is an excellent song.
That's right.
But... So 4, I saw, and it's long gone. Stone Ridge Plaza in Greece used to have a movie theater, and I go to watch this, and of course, a lot of people are watching it for the second or the third time. And they get to the part where Rocky wins at the end, and doesn't somebody light off a whole roll of firecrackers and scare the heck out of them?
Was it? Now, you went through this. I didn't see it in the theaters. I remember watching it on HBO. But I do remember Eddie Murphy in his comedy special Raw did a bit on how Italian dudes came out of the theater after Rocky and wanted to chest up anybody that would get in their way and try and fight them because of their heritage, because he's Balboa and it's "You're Rocco! You're Rocco!" Was it like that in Greece? I imagine it was.
Again, where was I? It was the Stone Ridge Plaza in Greece.
I imagine Greece was just like that, just like the bit that Eddie Murphy said, where you got short little Italian guys walking up to anybody that gets in their way, going, "Yeah, what do you want to do? You want to fight? You want to go?" He used some colorful language that I won't repeat here in the sports bar. But if you know the bit that I'm talking about, then you know that what makes that funny is that it's true. It's true that in Greece, New York, there were dudes like Gene Battaglia coming out of the movie. Yeah. They go, "Hey, what do you want? You want a piece of this? Let's go, Rocco! All right."
I had mullet working, everything at that point. Yeah.
There's a lot of injuries in the NFL that teams are dealing with. You Justin Jefferson officially going to IR. You have Devon Achane officially going on IR for Miami. Daniel Jones not practicing for the Giants. And now, for our Browns fans, look, I'm paying attention to, as you are, Deshaun Watson. He's dealing with a sore shoulder, Gene. And I'm not a doctor. I'm far from one. Maybe you or somebody listening can help me out. What sort of physical treatment would typically be prescribed here for Deshaun Watson to get over that sore shoulder?
Danger.
No, I'm not apologizing.
No, it's true.
Okay,
though.
I'm not apologizing. He did this to himself. He has to take it.
He can go into the team facility and get someone who is licensed, and preferably hey, make sure everything's on camera here at this point. It is weird. It's is it because the NFL doesn't want to talk about treatment or whatever? That's a story we didn't talk about. Hey, you're cleared. I'm not going in. Hey, this is football. What's going on here? Is it the guaranteed money? Is it the what is it?
Just one of the most baffling signings ever at the quarterback position. The Browns giving him all of that money with everything that was going on. Just all of it is just baffling.
Probably the owner. Maybe he was on some sort of binge at that point, and then do it.
Tier 1 a-hole.
Tier 1 a-hole. Danger, we may have reached a tipping point in terms of streaming services.
Oh, you think?
Yeah. Listen to these numbers, okay? This week's Ohio State-Purdue game, sorry, Buckeye fans, it's exclusively on Peacock, which, okay, if you want to watch it at home, it's $5.99 a month, reach into your wallet. But what if you owned a bar or restaurant that wants to show the game? Well, the only way you can do it is by purchasing the season-long pass, but that is $699 a month.
No.
$69. I'm sorry. The math I wrote on this is incorrect.
I was going to say, if it's $699 a month, I better be getting more than Peacock.
Well, that's what it is for the year.
Okay.
So, but the problem is, Danger, $699 for a year. That's the commercial rate.
Uh-huh.
You can only show that on one television.
Jeez.
So I have to do a little digging here. That with DirecTV, this is on the website Awful Announcing, they're reporting this. With that Bills-Chargers game, and if you own a bar, like you're going to have to pay $700 per TV to show that game.
$700?
The only way you can do it is to buy the commercial pass. It's not like you or me, $5.99 a month. No.
So you have to buy an annual pass just to show one game.
So there's a big sports bar in Columbus. This is according to Awful Announcing, that is staring at a bill of $20,000 just to show said Ohio State Purdue game. And they took this to Facebook and say, I'm sorry, we are not going to go in the hole for one game. We apologize. They're just letting their patrons know that you don't come in expecting to see the Ohio State game this week.
You can't just put it on one TV?
Well, you could.
Put it on one TV.
One TV.
Yeah, put it on one TV, and everybody will huddle around that one TV. But, like back in the old days. Honestly, when you go to like sports bars that are showing like the Sunday Ticket, and you go and you're a fan, like you all huddle around the TV of the game that you want to watch anyways, right? If you're a fan of the Eagles and the Eagles are playing, all the Eagles fans will congregate in one spot of the bar.
That's true, but now I'm fast forwarding to the Bills and Chargers, and if the pricing tier is the same, and that's a Saturday night, how is that going to work for some of these bigger places just with one TV you're allowed to show?
No, and it's ridiculous. The sports bar there in Ohio that you're describing is smart to not bankrupt their business just for one game. That's
a cash grab by Peacock. Yeah.
Yes, it's insane. And to say that we've reached a tipping point, I think we're beyond that. Now, I just laugh that for years and years and years, when we were all subscribers to cable or the dish, we all complained about how much we paid each and every month, and we all wanted. There's so many channels. I don't even watch all these channels. We just give us the chance to be a la carte. Let us pick the channels that we want, the content that we want. We deserve it. Give us on-demand program, and we have it now. And it's not costing us less. It's costing us more.
Yeah.
It's costing us more.
We were wrong on that one.
They're going to find ways to make money. That's what they do. We're going to get to Matt Beauvais. It's always game day in Buffalo, the Odyssey exclusive podcast. He's a co-host with Sal Capaccio. Talk some Buffalo Bills with Matt here in about 20 minutes or so.
And I want your opinion on this. This has not happened to me before. Another person in our business blocked me. What did I say? What did I do here?
Oh, boy. We're going to have a social media conversation.
Well, is this a sports bar conversation? I didn't think we were the show that picked fights with people, but it was just one of those things you learn, hey, wait, why did you block me?
Yeah, okay. We can check in on that. We'll check in on Gene's social media status here and why he's been blocked by other members of the media. We'll do that next. Happy hour coming up in less than an hour as well. You can join us on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line. 866-4FAN is our phone number. 866-4326. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub. The new location at 135 West Commercial Street in ER. GoodSmokeBBQ.com.
Winters in Rochester can be harsh.
Scott Arnold, founder.
And in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Always live on the free Odyssey.
Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Bills had just a walkthrough today. Corner Dane Jackson did not participate. He has a foot injury. Head coach Sean McDermott on what is behind the injury to Jaquan Jones.
You know, Jordan Phillips has been here a long time and maybe two different stints, but he's been here for quite some time, and he knows Ed, and so does Tim, and so does Puna for that matter.
Giants may be without their quarterback. Daniel Jones did not practice today. If he can't go, it'll be Tyrod Taylor starting against his former team. We'll talk some Buffalo Bills football coming up later this hour. Matt Beauvais, your co-host for the Always Game Day in Buffalo podcast, our guest here in the Sports Bar. 3 games in the baseball playoffs tonight. Atlanta is at Philadelphia. That series is tied at 1. Minnesota at Houston. The Astros can advance with a win. The Diamondbacks can advance the NLCS with a win over the Dodgers. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
I think they're a good, solid football team. You know, we got a test in front of us on Sunday night.
They're just not a very good team, and their quarterback's not very good.
Mike Danger.
It's not a tribute video at Highmark Stadium on Sunday night. It's more like a PSA. And you just have a montage.
Gene Battaglia.
I want to see Brian Daboll falling down in Miami.
Yeah.
Plenty of roster transactions to pass along to you.
I know the baseball series, playoff series are going on right now.
Astros lead is 9-1.
9 times.
Screw the Twins.
The Rangers are on to the ALCS with their Creed music.
Come on, Rangers, make us proud.
Come on, Marlins, make us proud.
I'm not on yacht, Rochester.
Jack Eichel, the personality of a carrot.
95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan. Rochester.
Not gonna lie, it felt good to watch some NHL last night. It's nice to have that back on the docket. Just flipping between that and some Major League Baseball action. And, you know, of course, as the week goes on, we'll have more to talk about here with the Sabres tomorrow night. College football on Saturday night. Just the best part of the sports calendar is upon us. It's fantastic.
It is wonderful. You even have the NBA preseason starting up.
That's right. We welcome you back into the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia, we're glad you're with us. Matt Beauvais from It's Always Game Day in Buffalo, the podcast with Sal Capaccio, Buffalo Bills podcast that you can check out in the free-to-download Odyssey app or wherever you get your shows. He'll be joining us here in about 10-15 minutes or so. You can join us at 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326. Gene, you're troubled. What's wrong,
I'm
buddy?
not troubled, but you're kind of my... I look to you for advice when it comes to these sort of things, especially when it comes to social media. Have you ever been blocked by somebody?
Blocked on social media?
Yeah. Blocked on X.
Probably. I don't know. Yeah, probably. I think former coworkers, you know, that left to go elsewhere maybe blocked me, but
because I view the block as a hostile move. If you don't like whatever I'm putting out there, like say, hey, actually, I'm a fan of Ithaca football. Stop with the Fisher tweets. Okay, then mute me. Okay, I'm not like that. Muting is the way to go. But
that's the gentleman's way.
I think that
both
would be
are
the
petty.
way. Well, no, mute is not petty. Mute
you
actually
can just not go on social media.
You can't do that in our business.
Oh, come on.
You cannot.
Get a
Danger
plug for a few moments.
Danger, you're the one. You're doing this more than I am these days, bud.
I'm pretty sure if I have gotten blocked, that's the people that have done it. The people that we used to work together, but they just don't want me seeing what they're up to now. Or they're afraid that I might see what they're doing and then report back on what they're doing, which I would never do because that person is a coward. I would never do that.
So how do you handle this? I don't want a relationship with this person, but I might see this person in the Buffalo Bills press box Sunday night.
Oh, hold on a second. Gene, I should be sitting down. I thought you liked me. You mean to tell me another member of the media has blocked another member of the media? Because the pettiness that happens in sports media, to me, is something as an outsider, and I'll always be an outsider. I didn't go to school for journalism. This wasn't, like I'm not writing articles for a local newspaper, but local sports media, specifically like Bills media,
petty.
Kind of petty.
Petty. Petty, but it comes out of a place of competition, like in jealousy.
But
like,
what are we competing for?
That's when
we're all doing the same thing. We're all pumping out content. We're all talking about the same thing in different and unique ways. Are we mad if somebody I respect the people that do this and do it well, and I feel like most of the people in the space do it and do it well. So if we all have mutual respect, why are we so petty?
I'm not going to own up to being the voice of baseball writer. Baseball writer will come in at some point.
Baseball writer, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only thing. That this person writes a lot about baseball, and maybe I offended them. But it's weird how that's the first time. Like I don't think you come to our show for controversial takes that are going to get you so upset that you're going to block me. I don't know. What do you say something to this person?
No. You don't reference it. You don't bring it up because now, if you do that, you've let them know that it got to you. And it shouldn't get to you. It's their problem. It's their device. It's what they want to do. It's their feed, their choice. And if you make a big deal out of it, now you've shown them that it affects you, that it bothers you, and it shouldn't bother you. You high road it. You always high road it. And go through it blissfully ignorant that this person has blocked you or that this person has a disdain for you. Who cares? Honestly. Do you think I would be willing to bet that a good quarter of our guests in the sports bar, when we invite them in, their first reaction is, "Oh God, the guys in Rochester again." And they come in and they're great and they're pros and we love having them on and they make us better fans and they make us smarter. But do you know, under their breath, they're like, ugh. And maybe it is a jealousy or a pettiness.
That's just a sports media thing, though. I think that's, again, it's like, I don't think that's a Western New York thing. You go to any market, and that's how sports media is. Like, hey, I am the voice. No, not you. I'm the voice here of authority.
There are some members there's some writers in the area that are just a vulgar display and abuse of power that they have when I'm going to block you, chew on this block, blocking everybody who disagrees with me. It's like, guys, again, it's your feed, you can do whatever you want, but you understand how ridiculous all of this is? It's ridiculous. And most of the time, if you were to do that in person, you wouldn't do it in person.
Well, that's why.
It's a cowardly move.
So that's why. Part of me, and you're right, I would not. It's better to just be above it all, but wouldn't you just like to go up there like, hey?
No.
Hey.
No.
Like what? No, don't do that.
No. It's good to see you. How have you been? Man, we should connect. Let's get a beer sometime.
Okay. Can this person, if you're obviously not going to come on the show if they're blocking me. You're not upset that this person blocked me, are you?
To me personally, I don't care. No, it doesn't bother me. It shouldn't bother you.
No, it does not bother me.
Okay,
I didn't.
But you wanted to chest him up about it, and you shouldn't do that.
I shouldn't do that.
No, because now you've shown him it does bother you. And if it truly doesn't bother you, we shouldn't even be having this conversation. You got to be above all of it, man. I don't know who's blocked me. Like I said, if there's anybody that's done it, it's probably coworkers, former coworkers, and that's that. And fine, I get it. Like, if it didn't end well as professionals, and you don't want to, see or hear from me or anything that I'm putting out, and allow me to see or hear anything that you're doing, fine. But I'm cool with that. It's okay. We'll move on with our day. It's small. It's petty. I just, for the life of me, I don't understand the world of sports media and why it is just so childish. Why everybody? It's like, it's just cliquey and childish and petty and catty, and that's not disrespectful to the work that is being done, because I think a lot of people do a lot of really, really good work. But then
there's so much drama that, like, what you wouldn't have in other businesses.
Right. Can we rise above it? Can we be grown-ups? Can we be civil? Can we? I mean, maybe the reason why is we're just all misfits. You wanted social advice from me? We're all social misfits, Gino. Maybe that's what it is.
What it is.
All of us are just secretly Mets fans. And the ones, you're just above it all because you're proud to be a Mets fan. You're in there. You're self-proclaimed.
All right, so I will not chest up anybody Sunday night.
Absolutely not. You should you should absolutely not. And like, I don't know, the person you're talking about always to me seemed like a good guy. I don't know that I agreed with everything that went about how he went about his business, but that's up to him. It's none of my business. I don't care. And I would always just take the high road.
Well, I guess maybe that's a sign of the show where, like, quite often, like, I would know what I said or whatever it was. I don't know. Like, honestly, like, that's the part that, like, I'm puzzled at. Like, why now?
Don't be bothered by the block. Just go about your day. It means nothing. Don't be bothered by the block. And when you see that person who's blocked you, take the high road. That's it. That's my advice to you.
That's dangerous TED Talk.
There you go. At the Fan Rochester, Peter, one of our regulars, our pollster, Peter, checking in. Rocky 2 is by far the most underrated movie in the franchise, best storyline. Rocky power ranking, according to Peter. He's got 2 at number 1, 3 at number 2, Rocky 1 at 3, Rocky Balboa at 4, which I believe is Rocky 6, Rocky 4 at 5, and Rocky 5 at 6.
Okay,
follow all of that?
Rocky 5 was terrible.
He's got Rocky 4 at 5. That's the hot takey part of this take. Rocky 4, I mean, it's not my favorite, but Rocky 4 is not the 5th best in the franchise, Peter.
Rocky Balboa was okay. That was okay.
Is that where his kid is like a street fighter or something?
No, that's where this is like later on in life, and he's owning a restaurant. He's trying to, like, his wife
I didn't see
died.
Rocky Balboa. I stopped.
You stopped.
I'm trying to remember 5. What was 5?
Tommy Gunn was the character.
That's the one. I didn't watch
terrible.
5 or 6. Now I haven't seen 5 or 6. So this power ranking for me would be incomplete. But for me, it's 3 at number 1, 4 at number 2, 2 at number 1, 1. Nope, let me flip that. Rocky 1 at number 3 and Rocky 2 at number 4.
I'm still a 4 truther. I love 4.
You love 4.
I love
you like
4.
that workout montage
I love
with Robert Tepper. There's no easy way out, Gene. I like There Is No Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I like Apollo screaming, "There is no tomorrow, Rock. There is no tomorrow."
Yeah, you like them splashing around in the water after they sprint. Is that 2 or 3 now? I'm getting
That's
confused.
3.
That's 3.
That's
yeah,
3.
Like
that doesn't make me uncomfortable at all, Gene. I don't know why you're even bringing that up.
It's
a beautiful scene. 2 men embracing on the beach after a hard workout. What's wrong with that?
You learn to love another man in
That's
this
right.
world.
That's right.
Steve writing in, and I'm sorry, Steve. We'll save this for next week. I didn't see this. How about this one for PJ next week? Francisco Liriano.
Oh, yeah.
That's
yeah.
beautiful,
Former
yeah.
Rochester Red Wing, right?
Right.
Let's get Matt Beauvais in here. It's always game day in Buffalo. This is the pod that he's on with Sal every week, takes the news and puts it in the right context around the Buffalo Bills, all the latest moves, all the storylines. We got plenty to get to with Matt Beauvais as the Buffalo Bills gear up for Sunday Night Football with the Giants coming to town. He joins us next in the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia on the Fan Rochester.
Odyssey has sports for everything.
Although corner Dane Jackson did not participate, Jackson with a foot injury. Head coach Sean McDermott also talking today on what is behind the injured Daquan Jones.
You know, Jordan Phillips has been here a long time and maybe 2 different stints, but he's been here for quite some time, and he knows Ed, and so does Tim, and so does Puna for that matter.
Giants may be without their quarterback. Daniel Jones did not practice today. If Jones can't go, it'll be Tyrod Taylor starting against his former team coming up Sunday night. We'll talk to Matt Beauvais, co-host of the Always Game Day in Buffalo podcast. He joins us next year in the Sports Bar. 3 games in the baseball playoffs. Atlanta is at Philadelphia, series tied at 1. Minnesota at Houston. Astros can advance with a win, and the Diamondbacks can advance with a win over the Dodgers. Gene Battaglia in the Sports Leader, the Fan, Rochester.
They've raised the bar on Rochester Sports Talk. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
I don't. All I know is they're going to be put on IR. They're going through surgery or have gone through surgery already, but that's really where I'm at this point.
Are you holding out hope at all on either of those guys to come back?
Yes. I don't think that door's been shut totally, but again, more information needed to really be able to say that.
On both or just one?
I'll say both.
Bills head coach Sean McDermott leaving the window of opportunity open there for maybe a possible return. Daquan Jones, Matt Milano, both placed on IR today. We welcome in the co-host of It's Always Game Day in Buffalo, the podcast you can hear on the Odyssey app with Sal Capaccio, and it's Matt Beauvais stopping by the Sports Bar. Matt, we know you were overseas. You were in London. Before we get to the Giants, before we look back at what happened last weekend, how was your trip? How was Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? And is that a true look at what Bills fans can expect when the new stadium is built?
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys. The trip was good. The stadium is incredible. I think the stadium might be, a little bit overshadowed because of the loss of the game. And people are like, crap, well, I don't really care about the stadium, whatever. But I took a tour of the stadium before the game, and it is gorgeous. And if the new stadium in Orchard Park is half as nice as this stadium, which it will be, I think we are in for a really, really nice treat. It's spectacular, so Bills fans should be really excited because it's a gorgeous facility.
Matt, did the Bills err in leaving on Thursday night when they did?
I don't think so. I don't think that it was a big deal. I think that because they lost the game, there was going to be something that needed to be talked about of why, and I think this is probably the most low-hanging fruit that somebody could take. I don't think if they get there a day early, Kyer Elam is better able to cover Calvin Ridley. I don't think if they get there another day earlier, James Cook is all of a sudden more effective in the run game. So I don't really think it makes that big of a difference. I think that the Bills just didn't play a good game. The Jaguars did, and I think the Jags are also a pretty good team. And I think when you put all of that together, the Bills lost a game that they shouldn't have lost, but I don't think they lost because they went a day later than maybe they could have ultimately gone. I mean, the players – say what you want, I don't know if they got fully acclimated to the time or whatever, but they also don't want to just leave. That would also have annoyed them. I think the Jags were annoyed that they had to stay the entire week. So I don't know. I think maybe it is a factor, but I don't think it's the reason they lost.
So Matt, you brought up some of the points that some of the down arrows pointing down for the Bills on Sunday. One thing that I just noticed whenever the Bills lose, it always seems to come down to one word for me, and it's physicality. And on that offensive line, and you mentioned Cook not being able to get it go. Did you notice that the Bills' offensive line just wasn't their normal physical self, or at least the physical team that we saw there for the 2 games that they were able to dominate their opponent?
Maybe a little bit, but I keep going back to, I understand the physicality point, but for me, the thing that I think that the reason they lost the game was just a lack of urgency. And I don't know if that completely correlates to when they got out there, but the play calling was just really, really weird to me. And I didn't understand a lot of the decision making, especially in the first half, with how ineffective the Bills were with moving the ball and how that ultimately led to their struggles. I mean, I think about the first couple drives of the game, Josh Allen throwing it 6 yards short of the sticks to Dalton Kincaid, and he's not able to get the first down, and then they have to punt. And then finally they get a first down, and then they do this little jet pitch thing to James Cook, and he loses 6 yards. And then on the next play, you're doing a screen pass to Latavius Murray, where legitimately the only read on the play is the screen to Latavius Murray, and he doesn't even come close to the first down. So I think, maybe it was a lack of physicality at the line of scrimmage, and that's why they weren't able to be more effective in the run game. But I think in pass pro, they were actually okay. I think it was a pretty standard game for what we've kind of come to assume from this offensive line. I just think that offensively they were just really, really flat on Sunday, and that's what cost them.
Matt Beauvais is the sports director at WKBW in Buffalo, and you hear him as the co-host with Sal Capaccio, the Always Game Day in Buffalo podcast inside the Odyssey app. So, Matt, you mentioned the word Kaiir Elam, the name Kaiir Elam, and to me it's a mystery. Like, how did he go from first-round pick, and then, all right, he's not going to be the starter, but he's still being okay. At least that's what we thought during camp. And then, he's inactive to, oh my gosh, did they bring in Josh Norman here as kind of a, hey, let's help out the kid here, and try to figure this out? Because, Matt, how would you kind of assess what's happened here to Kaiir Elam here as he's in his second year?
I don't get it. I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. I think that there's skill there. I think that there's talent there. That's obvious because he is a first-round pick. But at the end of the day, I just don't know how he gets himself out of the doghouse. I think it's almost like a difference in philosophy, which is one of the reasons why he hasn't been able to kind of take the next step. Kaiir Elam is his best self when he's playing physical, when he can get his hands on a receiver and he can shut them down at the line. And then I watched the game, and he's lined up 6, 7, 8 yards away from Calvin Ridley and is just getting beat on every single rep. And it's like, yeah, Calvin Ridley's a really good player, but you're also not letting this guy do what he's good at. Does he have any chance of succeeding if you're not letting him try and do what he is supposed to be able to do? I don't know what's going to happen, but Dane Jackson does not practice today. Christian Benford does. So if you get Christian Benford back, guys, I will not be surprised if it's Christian Benford and Jamarcus Ingram called up from the practice squad to be their starting two corners, because I don't think they liked what they saw from Kaiir Elam. I don't think they're at the point yet where they trust Kaiir Elam. And I think they're honestly just looking for somebody who can be okay, not somebody like Kaiir Elam's thing right now is Kaiir Elam has the upside and he has the potential. But they're not in a position where they can be searching for somebody with potential and giving them the reps to ultimately get to that point. They just need somebody to come in and play right now and not hurt them. So, I don't think Elam is in that position yet.
Given everything that we know then, Matt, with the injuries to Jones and to Milano, to the struggles of Kaiir Elam and everything that we're talking about here on the defensive side of the ball, if you were to tinker, if you were to give somebody reps, somebody that normally doesn't get reps, if you're going to experiment, well, wouldn't this be the weekend to do it? Wouldn't Sunday night be the time against the Giants offense that's depleted and your really focus is your sole focus is probably stopping Saquon Barkley? I mean, wouldn't you give more opportunity to Kaiir Elam against the Giants just to see if he can turn it around?
Sure. I mean, I think in theory that probably makes a lot of sense. But at the end of the day, you are coming off of a loss and you have to win these games against your opponents who you are certainly superior than. So to me, I hear your point, and I would say, yeah, you would feel comfortable regardless of who's starting at second corner that you should be able to win this game. But I think they might think they're not thinking that way. They're just thinking, okay, we need to put the best team possible out there right now, and we'll figure that out later. So I think Josh Norman is a long play. I don't think that we're going to see him on the field anytime soon. I think they bring him in because he knows the system, and they want to see what he has left in the tank. Because, Sean really likes Josh Norman. I know that when he was here, he was fine. He wasn't great. He wasn't bad. We'll see what he has left in the tank. What you say in theory makes sense, but I don't think they're thinking of it that way. I don't think that they're like, okay, we're going to win this game regardless. I think they're going into it like, we just lost. We absolutely now need to respond with a win because we cannot be playing catch-up in the AFC.
Feels like we saw a little impatience out of Sean McDermott on Sunday as well, Matt, as you had Dorian Williams immediately replacing Matt Milano, and then you saw Tyrell Dotson there at the end of the game. Do you think one of those two guys will emerge here and play consistently, or should we expect that we're going to see both of those guys try to fill the shoes of Matt Milano, which is a hard enough task to do?
Yeah, I think you'll probably see both of those guys, and they'll kind of do a rotation. I think that Sean will use them in different settings. I think in a passing down or in like a definite situation where you think you're going against like a pass-heavy offense, you might lean a little bit more on Dorian Williams. And then for a bigger attack for like the Giants, for example, if they're going to just turn around and hand the ball to Saquon Barkley, I think you'll probably have more of Tyrell Dotson out on the field, just because I think they like what he can do in that space more. The one thing about Dodson that kind of was always holding him back was his play in pass coverage. So I think that you'll probably see a combination of the two of them, but given their skill sets, I don't think either of them will eventually just take over and be like the full-time starter next to Terrell Bernard. I think it'll be a rotation of the two.
Matt, we're less than 3 weeks away from the trade deadline. We saw Brandon Beane make a couple of moves last year. And, from a production standpoint, you don't win that Patriot game maybe if Hines doesn't make those 2 kickoff returns. That's not what he was brought in for. But I guess my question is, with all these injuries starting to pile up, Milano and Daquan Jones, and we can't forget about Trey White, and, what is right now a lack of depth at corner, if Brandon Beane was going to make a move, what position could you see that happening at?
So I think corner is the obvious one, but you have to have a player out there who you think is going to be available and who you think immediately helps your team. And I don't know if Patrick Surtain in Denver is available or if somebody in Minnesota is available. I'm just thinking of teams that have started the season slow and their future looks murky, so you're trying to see if you could take advantage of it. I think corner and linebacker are obviously the two that you would think about. I also would be sniffing around for a wide receiver. I don't think I would give up a premium to get a wide receiver, but I wonder if you can get Denver on the phone and you can say, okay, we'll give you a second or third round pick for Jerry Jeudy. Take it if you want it. I wonder if they would do that, and then it makes you that much more dynamic in the short term. I think that there's one of 2 ways you can approach the rest of the season. The second way, which I think is the wrong way, is trying to find guys to replace Matt Milano and Daquan Jones and Tre'Davious White. There is nobody available who is going to be able to replace those guys, which brings me to the first way, which is go all in on the offense. You're going to live and die by your offense, and for me, that's why it's okay, guys, we saw you were able to put up 48 points. Obviously, last week was not the same, but we're going to win these games. We're going to win playoff games because of our offense. And if you're going to do that, then, hey, maybe try and go find another weapon out there and lean into it and say, this is how we're going down. We're going down swinging, and if it works, it works.
Matt, we're close to it, so we kind of know the truth. But I think nationally, there's going to be a narrative that always it rears its ugly head whenever Stephon Diggs looks upset. And we saw a moment on the sideline where he threw the tablet down, and immediately everybody went to, oh, he's mad at Josh Allen again. Tell us a little bit about what Allen said today after practice about that specific incident.
Well, he said that Diggs ran the wrong route, and he was mad at himself, basically. And everything that those guys do gets overanalyzed and becomes a narrative, and it shouldn't. Stephon Diggs is a very fiery guy. That's what I want to see from my number one wide receiver if I'm a fan. I want to see somebody who cares. I want to see somebody who's passionate. He was pissed because he thought he hurt his team by running the wrong route on a certain play. So good. I like that passion. It's the same way, if Josh throws the iPad because he had a bad interception or a bad decision. But because it's Stephon Diggs, of course it goes on social media, and because, of course, people are talking about it. I think it's much to do with nothing. I think the relationship there is totally fine, and I just think that they're two really competitive guys who really want to win. That's what I think.
Matt Beauvais, WKBW, our guest, always game day in Buffalo as we look ahead here to the Giants. What's your level of fear that Brian Daboll will know how to devise the perfect scheme to shut down Josh Allen? Your thoughts on Daboll coming back here?
I'm interested because I have thought about that this week, and I was like, man, if anybody knows what Josh likes and what Josh doesn't like, it's Brian Daboll. I think even more so than Ken Dorsey, honestly. So I think that Ken Dorsey is going to need to be smart this week on how he's approaching this game, but I also don't think that he needs to try to make this team something they're not. You still need to do what you're good at. You still need to incorporate Stephon Diggs. You still need to make sure that you're spreading the ball around. Maybe this is a game where there's an unsung hero that pops up, like a Damian Harris or like a Latavius Murray, and those guys get a little bit more play. Listen, the Giants' defense is not good. If the Bills only have put up 20 points against the Giants, that's really, really concerning. So, I think that you probably have to be a little bit more aware because you know how much those guys know about your team and about your schemes, but don't overthink it. Just, let them go play, and they should be good enough to get a win.
And Matt, we were saying earlier that if it is indeed Tyrod Taylor on Sunday, big Tyrod Taylor revenge game energy on Sunday. If it is indeed Tyrod Taylor and the Bills somehow find themselves losing to Brian Daboll's club at home in primetime on Sunday night, would that go down as the worst Buffalo Bills loss in the regular season in franchise history?
Oh, I don't know about that. There's some bad ones. I haven't even looked. Do you know the line?
14.
I think I saw the Bills 14. That's crazy to me. I know the Giants aren't good, but I don't think they're that bad. They were a playoff team last year. They're not that bad. Would it be the worst in franchise history? No. I can think of a couple that probably immediately come to mind. The Jags game from a few years ago was really bad. I remember driving to that game, and that was in the middle of still like the COVID stuff happening. And I believe Mitch Trubisky went on the COVID list. And I remember driving to the game and saying, oh my God, what if Josh has to go on the COVID list? And still thinking they would be able to beat the Jags with Davis Webb, who had never had a career start. And then they still ended up losing that game. So, no, I don't know if it would be that bad, but, I guess hopefully we don't have to have this conversation.
Yeah.
But it would be really bad, but I don't know if it would be the worst.
Matt, before we let you go, we're obviously excited about hockey here in Western New York. We look at the Amerks roster. It's like, wow, they are stacked. And your thoughts on the Sabres and what should be the expectation for Sabre fans this year?
Oh, I'm so ready for hockey. I'm so glad you guys asked me this because today and tomorrow, honestly, that's going to be my bigger focus is the hockey stuff. I think the expectations for the Sabres come down to a couple different things, but the biggest factor is goaltending. If Devin Levi is good, they are a playoff team. If Devin Levi is great, then they are a team that I think could really surprise a lot of people, similar to what the Devils did last year. If Devin Levi is okay and the goaltending is similar to what it was last season, then I still think they're probably a team that's right in it till the end and probably comes up a little bit short, similar to what they did last year. I think the thing that they have going for them is that they can score goals, and they can put up 4 or 5 goals a night on pretty much any goalie on any team. The question is the defense going to be better? I think naturally the offense will regress a little bit, but I also think the defense will improve. And I think that's probably a better recipe for a more consistent brand of hockey. The Sabres missed the playoffs last year because of the 8-game losing streak where they did not get a point. If they win one of those games, they're in the playoffs. And I know that's, a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I just think that they'll be a little bit better in their own end, and their goaltending will be a little bit better. And that's why I don't think they're, great, but I think they're probably a team that finishes 4th in their division, but still gets a wild card spot, goes to the playoffs, and can maybe win a series, maybe, depending on how good they play and how much they develop.
And Matt, with the Darlene extension earlier this week, and you kind of look at the core players, the guys that are making the big bucks for the Buffalo Sabres, don't you just get the sense that this is Kevin Adams? And they're building it in a very similar way. I know they're different sports, but very similar to what the Bills have done. They've got their core guys that want to be here, guys that have embraced being Buffalo Sabres, and they're building around those guys. I mean, the similarities are too glaring to ignore, correct?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're building around the middle of the ice, which is obviously Tage Thompson and Dylan Cousins. I think Tage Thompson is the more well-known player around the league right now, but I think Dylan Cousins might become the best forward on the Sabres roster, and I think that might even happen this year. He's just a really, really good hockey player. And then obviously defensively, you're going to build around guys like Darlene, who I think is a top 4 or 5 defenseman in the entire NHL. I think Owen Power is continuing to trend in that direction. They'll get him signed at some point. They just need to figure out, is it going to be a bridge contract for 3, 4, 5 years, or is it going to be an 8-year deal where you just know you have those 2 guys for the foreseeable future, and then you have all of those secondary guys, some of the guys who have played in Rochester, like Quinn, like Peterka, like Middlestat. What are their roles become? At the end of the day, the core for the Sabres looks so solid if Levi turns out to be the guy. Because if you have a legit goalie with those other pieces, you are going to be a very good team for a very long time. But getting the goalie is so important. So now this year we're going to find out, is Devin Levi that guy? Will he become that guy? What does the workload look like for him? So it's a really interesting season. But, yeah, they've got a young, impressive core that I think might be one of the best in the NHL. I think a lot of teams would kill to be in the position the Sabres are with Cousins, with Thompson, with Darlene, with Power, and then with all the prospects that they have who you guys are going to get to see in Rochester.
If we may recommend a Bills podcast, it would be Always Game Day in Buffalo. Matt, tell everybody, when does the next one drop here?
Well, we're going to record one tonight. So I think that it should be available for you first thing tomorrow morning. And, yeah, I mean, we usually do about 2 or 3 a week. We always do one right after the game. We usually do one midweek, and then we usually do one later in the week to kind of get you ready for the next game. So a lot of it depends on Sal Capaccio might be like the busiest guy in the world, and now that I have a 6-month-old, I'm becoming busier. So sometimes it's only 2, sometimes it's 3, but we'll make sure we get everybody one sometime in the next 24 hours here.
And you guys are streaming that as well. For anybody that's watching our stream at the Fan Rochester on YouTube, you can get that stream on YouTube as well, correct?
Yes, absolutely. It's on YouTube now, which is great because it's another place where people can find us, but it also stinks because now I have to pay attention to what I look like. For so long,
Dude, you're on TV. What are you talking
this
about?
TV guy worried about it.
Yeah.
What are you worried about? The bags under your eyes because you're not getting sleep with your 6-month-old?
The constant bags under my eyes, the lighting. I mean, we're cheating. In a TV studio, we got nice lights that make everybody look good and shine. I record the podcast. If you ever watch it, you'll see me in front of a bookshelf. I mean, I'm in my basement. It's about as non-luxurious as possible. So, yeah, the setting is not perfect for, I guess, the aesthetics of everything.
Well, Matt, we appreciate the work that you and Sal are doing on the pod and the coverage you're doing for the Buffalo Bills and covering the Buffalo Bills. Great having you on. Let's do it again soon, bud.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'll see you guys Sunday.
You
All
got
right,
it.
thanks,
There's
man.
Matt Beauvais. It's always game day in Buffalo with Sal Capaccio, WKBW in Buffalo as well.
Ooh, I think I'm going to steal that take. You cannot replace Matt Milano. You can't replace Trey White. You can't really replace Daquan Jones. But can you make this offense better? There's enough there on defense. I like that thought. Add more to offense.
Ultimately, you're going to score more points than your opponent. The defense, I think, was always going to be a bend but don't break defense. That's Sean McDermott. That's, we're going to score more points and we're going to prevent you from scoring points. We might give up a lot of yards, might give up some big plays, but we're not going to give up a lot of points. We'll be able to score more points. You add to the offense before the trade deadline, I still think they kind of stand pat. I don't think they're going to be real active, but there are some needs. It just feels like those glaring needs are on the defensive side of the ball. And Sean McDermott himself says that we don't replace, we play the next man up.
Well, like I've said before multiple times, you never replace a player, and I don't like to get into comparing players. I don't think that's healthy. Overall, it's the job of the person who is stepping in to do the job, and we have full confidence in that player, whoever that player is in this case. And a piece of this is you play. Those guys they're not able to play. The guys that you're all talking about, and so piece of it is playing for those guys too, because they were a big piece of this team and still are, but they can't help it so much now. So we play for them.
They don't replace. Next man up. Always next man up.
Yeah, so Jamarcus Ingram over Kyrie Elam if Dane Jackson can't go.
If you're going to do it, this is the week to do it.
Yeah.
Might as well do it this week. Play around a little bit. Get weird. Happy hour is on the way next in the sports bar. We'll get to a round of shots. We have time for your calls as well. You can join us on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line. That number is 585-866-4FAN, 866-4326. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, the new location, 135 West Commercial Street in ER, goodsmokebbq.com.
Chris writing in. The reason why we asked Matt Beauvais this question, was it the jet lag? He said, no, the jet lag doesn't excuse for this. I'll listen to that. And we're making too much of it because he called it low-hanging fruit. Chris writing in, look, it was no Joe Capagreco and not having TD Bianchi on Sunday morning.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know how you felt having to go online to get your soccer scores, your Italian soccer scores from Italy.
From Italy.
Yeah. That's a little bit much. I'd rather just listen to the dulcet tones of Joe Capagreco and the Italian Carousel on a Sunday morning. Appreciate that, Chris. Your tweets, your updates on X at The Fan Rochester if you want to engage with us there. Happy hour next in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia on The Fan. Get ready to start the NFL week off right tomorrow night. It's Mike Danger for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 95.7 The Fan. Right now, all customers getting no sweat same game parlay for Thursday night football. Just place a 3-leg same game parlay on tomorrow night's game between the Broncos and Chiefs. You'll get bonus bets back if you don't win. NFL same game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. Build your own or choose from one of the popular same game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. Visit FanDuel.com/Mike, M-I-K-E, so you don't miss out on your chance to get a no-sweat same-game parlay on America's #1 sports book, FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 plus and physically present in New York. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country and get the insight.
W239BF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The Fan, Rochester, sports update.
Bills had just a walkthrough today. Corner Dane Jackson, however, not participating. Jackson showing up on the injury report today with a foot injury. Josh Allen on scene, former offensive coordinator Brian Daboll on the other sideline.
Just dap him up, give him a big old hug. I know, he's meant so much to me in my football career and in my life, for that matter. So excited to see him.
Giants may be without their quarterback. Daniel Jones did not practice today. If Jones can't go, it'll be former Buffalo Bill Tyrod Taylor starting for Big Blue. Bills listed as a 14-point favorite coming up on Sunday night. 3 baseball games tonight. Atlanta is in Philadelphia, series tied at 1. Minnesota is at Houston. The Astros can advance with a win, and the Diamondbacks can advance to the NLCS with a win over the Dodgers. G. Battaglia on the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
I think they're a good, solid football team. We got a test in front of us on Sunday night.
They're just not a very good team, and their quarterback's not very good.
Mike Danger.
It's not a tribute video at Highmark Stadium on Sunday night. It's more like a PSA. And you just have a montage.
Gene Battaglia.
I want to see Brian Daboll falling down in Miami.
Yeah.
Plenty of roster transactions to pass along to you.
I know the baseball series, playoff series are going on right now.
Astros lead is 9-1.
9 times.
Screw the Twins.
The Rangers are on to the ALCS with their Creed music.
Come on, Rangers, make us proud.
Come on, Marlins, make us proud.
I'm not on Yacht Rock, man.
Jack Eichel, the personality of a carrot.
95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Welcome into Happy Hour, the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia. Glad you're with us as we enter peak sports fandom season. The part of the calendar we are in right now, it's hard to keep up with everything that you want to consume. Loved having hockey back on last night.
Yeah, I haven't been this excited about the Sabres in I don't know how long. Like tuning in tomorrow night to see how this kind of looks, and then you have an Amerks roster that I'm not waving pom-poms here. I'm being honest. Like, when has this team ever been this stacked? And when I tell you, on top of that, RIT, this is the most stacked they've ever been since the Frozen Four team, and actually they're against Notre Dame Saturday night. So this is fantastic from hockey. You've got the Chiefs tomorrow night. You got the baseball playoffs just underway in, 3 minutes here. Braves and Phillies. Game, it feels like the Phillies missed a big opportunity in game
For
2.
sure.
Yeah.
But they're at home. And it feels like a different team. They're a different team when they're playing at Citizens Bank. So we'll keep tabs on that here through the course of Happy Hour. You can join us at 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326. We appreciate you watching the video stream at The Fan Rochester on YouTube and Twitch. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell so you get notifications anytime we go live. And also, you can get us on your smart device when you ask it to play 95.7 The Fan. As always, we are sounding our best in the free-to-download Odyssey app.
I'm going to read you a quote. This is from 2015, but it's very timely for what we're talking about this week with the Buffalo Bills. Why would I be pulling out a quote from 8 years ago? And it's a quote from not even a Buffalo Bills representative. It's from Ron Rivera. Here's the quote. His playing style was high risk, high reward. You could tell when you watched him in college, he liked to do his own thing, and maybe the rest of the team was in zone, and he was a man. That type of stuff, we kind of went with it, but then it cost us a couple of times. Who is Ron Rivera talking about? He's talking about a player that was bad his rookie year. All of a sudden then turned into this all-pro, arguably one of the best at his position in the game, and then got paid big time. Josh Norman. Mm-hmm. Josh Norman. Now, the difference here being he was a 5th-round pick, but his first year, Sean McDermott, it was not good in 2012, and then all of a sudden, it clicked. So I look at that with Josh Norman coming into Buffalo and trying to figure out what's going on with Kyer Elam, and this has to be it here. And when you're hearing Sean McDermott talk today, it's, he's going on and on about Jano, as he calls it, Josh Norman. But, you have to think that's really the reason they brought him in.
Sean McDermott earlier today.
Yeah, similar. We'll see. I haven't, I just saw Jano in street clothes here, so I haven't been on the field with him yet. But another guy that still has the passion and desire to play, obviously, and we'll see what type of shape he's in here, and he's a guy that's always brought a lot of juice, a lot of energy to the team and teams that he's been on, and he does a great job taking the ball away, and he's a sound tackler. So we'll see where it goes physically at this point from here.
Was part of that move, Sean, maybe he's 35? Was part of it maybe be a mentor to these young guys? I don't know what he's got left to play, but
yeah, he's been through you mentioned the arc. It's even before that. When we were in Carolina, he got off to a little bit of a slow start. We got off to a little bit of a slow start in terms of just him not being on the field early, and then he learned some things and adjusted to the way he needed to adapt his style of play to the team, and the rest is history. He went and did well and above any what we thought he was capable of because of the work he put in. He was so committed to his craft, but the credit goes to him just from the adjustments he made early on because he wasn't on the field early on, and those are great lessons he can share with young players.
With Kyer, is that a player that you look to? Because Eric talked about needing to keep his confidence up, and
it's to me not the reason, the primary reason why Jano's here, but it is a secondary reason that he can impart wisdom, perspective that sometimes can't always come from a coach. It's powerful when it comes from a teammate or a player that's played your position and been there and done that before.
We're going to break that down and distill it down and translate it for you. Sean McDermott's message isn't getting through to Kyer Elam. Maybe Josh Norman's message will get through to Kyer Elam. Right?
Josh Norman, somebody who took the same path and then got paid.
Right. Hey, kid, I know you think you're a press corner and that's all you can do in this league. Watch what I did. Let me show you what you can actually do if you buy in. And maybe Kyer Elam just can't buy in. Maybe he can't do it. He can't see himself in that role, or he can't see himself making it work, or he's just incapable of making it work in this system. And then you have a problem. You tried to put a square peg in a round hole. You failed, and you're going to have to cut your losses at some point. But Josh Norman, to me, feels like the last-ditch effort, at least at minimum, a way of disguising your message. It's a way of getting a fresh perspective on the message you've been trying to drill home. It's coming from a player and not the old man head coach, not Coach Hardass. We'll see. I'm skeptical as to whether or not Kyer Elam recovers or rebounds. We haven't seen it.
This might be the last chance here. They're not going to waive Kyer Elam here, in the middle of the season unless something really happens wrong. But as far as bringing him back and making the team next year, yeah, you got to at least contribute here at some point for the Buffalo Bills to do it. It's also kind of. Look, it's embarrassing for Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott to invest in a first-round pick. They need to figure this out, and at least they're recognizing, and that is as close to an admission by Sean McDermott of what that move really, really was. Sean McDermott isn't going to say, hey, my message isn't getting through. Yeah. He's not going to say the primary reason's here, but he's admitting that's a reason.
Yes. This is something that we discussed yesterday as well with Matt Perino, and I'm glad it got brought up at today's press conference. Sean McDermott was asked if the Bills need more from Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid from their tight ends.
Well, I just think overall it's a combination of finding a rhythm offensively, right, including getting the ball to the tight end position, but really, all positions, right, is I think the biggest. My biggest goal at this point is consistent rhythm from the start of the game to the end of the game, and it's tough. People play good defense. This is the NFL for a reason, so it's not going to be easy. And sometimes you want to get the ball to somebody, and the defense takes it away, right? But the defense they're playing or how they match up. But at the end of the day, we got to find a more consistent approach or a more consistent level of rhythm. And I think including the tight ends in that is important, but also making sure we're balanced from a standpoint of it's not just, hey, the tight end position. It's where the progression takes you. That's where you're going with it. And Josh, I think, has done a good job to this point, and we got to get the ball in the playmaker's hands.
All right, so PFF, okay, the disclaimer, okay, they're not the be-all, end-all, but just use it as a resource, right? And number one right now, graded, is actually George Kittle, then Travis Kelce, and then Sam Laporta.
Sam Laporta is nice. Tomorrow we'll have the president of the Sam Laporta fan club, Andy Barron's, on with us at 3:25. But
I thought you were.
Sam Laporta is nice. I mean, when you watch him play, it's frustrating if you're a Bills fan because you say to yourself, why aren't they using Kincaid the way the Lions are using Laporta?
It's a fair question. It's a very fair question. And I go back to the opening game against the Jets. They weren't even sending Kincaid into patterns at that point. They were playing him like he was Lee Smith out there. I'm like, no, like, let's see this. And it's a long season, okay? And there's wrinkles along the season. Maybe Dorsey's playing at a different level here at some point that just like you're winning games for the most part this way. At some point, we're going to see this evolution.
Well, I just love that the entirety of the offseason was spent calling Dalton Kincaid a pass catcher. He's a pass catcher. He's not a tight end. He's like a wide receiver. He's a slot guy. He's a pass catcher. His average depth of target is half what it was when he was at Utah since joining the Buffalo Bills. They're not utilizing him and using him the way everybody thought they would use him or utilize him. If he's a pass catcher, then get him out there. Get him the football. Let him make plays. I want to say his average depth of target is like just over 6 yards with Buffalo. It was over 13 while he was at Utah. So if that's what he is, if that's what they have, but again, this is what we said when they drafted him. What makes you believe that the Buffalo Bills will actually utilize the players in the position that they're best suited? We scratched our head after the trade deadline last year. Why aren't they getting Nyheim Hines the ball out of the backfield? Why isn't he catching? Why aren't they utilizing his speed or on the edge? This is symptomatic of the Buffalo Bills offense. It never seems like they're using their guys in the way which they're intended. Good sound from Sean McDermott today. And we gave you a little bit there on Josh Norman, a little bit there on the tight ends. But really, we're saving the best for last because it's a Wednesday. You know what that means in the sports bar. We have Sean McDermott.
McLive.
We have Sean McDermott talking about this week's opponent, the New York Giants. 35 seconds of Sean McDermott lying.
Count the lies here. Put the over-under in your mind. I already know the answer here, so I can't cheat on this one.
I think they're a good, solid football team. You know, I mean, they've had some injuries, and when you look at them last season, they went in one in the wild card round out in Minnesota, I believe it was, and
yes, you know that.
You know, they're a good football team. They've got good schemes, good coaches, and you know, we got a test in front of us on Sunday night. We got to focus on ourselves, number one, and get ourselves ready to go, and you know, look at some of this personnel that we've got going in there, and get better fundamentally, get better technique wise, and it should be an exciting night in Western New York here and on Sunday night here.
Is there a psychologist listening right now that can explain this to us? Because that is a tick of Sean McDermott where he is going to tell you a fact that you know is a fact, but more importantly, he knows it's a fact.
He's going to downplay it.
They were, they were in the playoffs last year. I think it was Minnesota.
Yeah,
you know it was Minnesota. You watch the tape. We weren't. Why does he do that week after week?
I'll cut him some slack. I mean, I don't want to be in a press conference. I don't want to be grilled by reporters. By the way, as we were discussing earlier, petty, childish.
No
reporters. I would cut him a little slack on that one. I think he's just kind of going with it, rolling with it, and just like, get me out of here.
No, but just watch that tick though. He'll be just like, yeah, I think they won the Super Bowl last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they're Super Bowl. That'll be fun during Chiefs week to see if he goes that far. If I'm not mistaken, they won the Super Bowl last year.
Well, they've won a lot of games over there in Kansas City.
I think they play at Arrowhead. I think that's what it's called. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's MetLife. I don't know.
It's like, honestly, like,
what's my name?
We're getting to the point where his press conference is like they're like inviting like a spoof here, right? Like you could do a bit on Sean McDermott. Oh no. I think it's. I was told it's the month of October here. I think we're on Sunday night. We're on Sunday night. Yeah, we're on Sunday night.
We got the moves officially today. Matt Milano, Daquan Jones, both sent to IR, and they also signed linebacker A.J. Klein to the active roster. Oh, I forgot to bring that up to Beauvais. I brought up to Beauvais. We see in Tyrell Dodson. We see in Dorian Williams. I forgot about A.J. Klein. We could see A.J. Klein. They could rotate 3 to try and replace Matt Milano out there. So A.J. Klein signed to the active roster from the Bills practice squad. Now, they still have an open slot, which could go to Balin Spector. If they wanted to add another linebacker, he's been designated to return from injured reserve as well. And I'm saying if you're going to test the waters on any of these guys, this is the week to do it. Do it against the Giants. Focus on stopping Saquon Barkley and let these guys get their reps.
Yeah. Start your market. If Dane Jackson's foot is bothering him, give him the week off. If you get Benford back and put Ingram in, I want to see what Ingram can do here. It was like it got to a point where Elam was so bad. I do believe Ingram is going to be elevated. It's also noteworthy that McDermott didn't rule out a possible return for Milano and Jones. Now, we don't know the extent of that pec tear. Just remember J.J. Watt. He came back from a pec tear, and he cost the Buffalo Bills because he's so great. He's J.J. Watt.
I know that we've talked about Tyrod being the backup to Daniel Jones and getting all the first team reps of practice today with Jones missing practice. Did you know who the backup to the backup is? Who the third stringer is in New York? It's a familiar name.
Oh, wait. Is it the kid from Syracuse? No.
Tommy DeVito.
Wow.
Tommy DeVito is the only other quarterback available. Are we going to see Tommy DeVito in the second half for the Bills and the Giants on Sunday? Will Tommy DeVito make an appearance in prime time?
There's going to be one thing I did disagree with Matt Beauvais on, and it's this. If the Bills lost this game at home to a quarterback you jettisoned, considering everything that's going on, it's a much, much worse loss. This would be the worst loss in Buffalo Bills franchise history.
Regular season.
Oh, postseason. We have wide right, 13 seconds.
Yeah, too much heartbreak to discuss. But the regular season? He brought up the Jacksonville game. That one is still fresh in our minds from a couple of years ago. The 9-6 Jacksonville lost to Urban Meyer's Jaguars.
That was a coaching failure the way I viewed that game. That was, hey, we're stepping off the plane. We have this game won. And then all of a sudden, oh, my gosh, we got to try to go ahead here.
Officially on injured reserve today in the NFL, Justin Jefferson, also Devin Achane, Dolphins running back, will be on IR. The next time we'll see him, the soonest we'll see him back on the field would be Week 11.
Ooh. All right, so now we have bye weeks coming up. Now we've got injuries. Now you want to win fantasy football tomorrow. But you got to make a note of this. Thursdays, 3:25. Like, if you list fantasy experts in the country, we're just very proud to have this relationship with Andy Behrens from Yahoo Fantasy. Will be joining us.
He's the best, and we'll help set your Week 6 lineups in fantasy football. Talk about what you can do with some of these bye weeks, what you can do with some of these injuries, and help get you a winner for your fantasy team this weekend in the NFL. And if we're talking about tomorrow also, Lance Lysowski of the Buffalo News covering the Buffalo Sabres. It's opening night for the Sabres. Host the Rangers. It's back.
Yeah.
Sabres hockey is back. The NHL is back. I watched last night. I watched a little NHL. I watched my Blackhawks beat the Penguins. I love Pittsburgh sports fan. Pittsburgh sports fan is their special breed of crazy. I love them. They're losing to the Blackhawks late, and they break out into a Fire Canada chant. They're blaming the Penguins on everything is Matt Canada's fault. Everything. Blame Canada for everything. The Blackhawks get the win in Connor Bedard's NHL debut.
I'm telling you, smart Steeler fans know okay, that really, look at the drops. I mean, the Ravens, that was just an awful, awful loss. You know, Deanna writing in, Gene, doesn't matter if the Ratbirds gave the Steelers a win. A win is a win, especially divisional ones.
That's right. It's exactly what I said. You can be upset. Like, my favorite thing about my Steeler fan friends were so angry on Sunday afternoon. Fire Tomlin. Fire Canada. Why is Gunnar Olszewski on this team? Too many. This is ridiculous. Kenny Pickett, isn't it? Like, what do you guys like when you lose? You won. You beat your divisional rival. You beat the Ravens at home. You won. Why are you so upset?
You don't see some of this, though, in the Bills fan base. I'm just being honest. Like, we come in here Monday. Yeah, they won, but, I mean, it's just a level of this is where we want our team to be, and we're not at that level. And, yeah, you won, but I agree. I don't know why Gunnar Olszewski's on that team.
Well, we have, they have a different set of problems where we believe in our franchise quarterback. I think they still have a lot of doubts about whether or not Kenny Pickett is real. And then certainly you go above that, and Matt Canada is public enemy number one in Pittsburgh right now. There's not a single person that wants that guy to continue to be the offensive coordinator. And then they get even more mad because Mike Tomlin, being who he is, gives him more challenges, gives him more responsibility. Oh, you want me to fire him? I'm going to promote him. What do you think of that?
Is there no fan base likes their offensive coordinator, but right now that's number one on the list, right? Steeler fans and their coordinators. Is there a fan base that like, okay, we got to get rid?
Here's the question I would have, and this is what we were talking about earlier. You were off on Monday. Me and Bo Jackson were talking to Nate Gary, and the topic of offensive coordinator came up because it does after the Bills lose. Everybody wants to blame Ken Dorsey whenever the offense doesn't score 40 points a game. Nate's point is the most valid. Who are you getting? Who do you think like there's an offensive coordinator out there right now, a coach out there right now who can come in and do a better job than what you have in Ken Dorsey? And I guess I would ask the same question for the Steelers and Matt Canada. Like, who are you getting? Who's showing up that knows that team, that knows the personnel, that's going to be better for the rest of this season than what you have in Matt Canada? Eventually, you might move on from Matt Canada, but who are you getting now? Why fire him now?
How many years in the drought era would you listen to our medium? Okay, let's fire Joe Pendry or whoever it is. Well, who do you want to bring in? You know what? The man who was the quarterback, Jim Kelly, would be a great offense. How many times did you hear that?
It's ridiculous. And again, I said this yesterday. Like, we love talking sports with you. It's a privilege. It's an honor. 866-4326. You can always join us. You can always pull up a stool. You can tweet us at the Fan Rochester.
But
when you're overly emotional in the heat of a game where your team just lost and you want to fire everybody, your takes are garbage. Your takes are garbage. You're better suited waiting a night. Like, sleep on it. Wake up. Breathe some fresh air. And then blame assessment Monday. You can come into the sports bar and we can have a rational conversation about what is actually going to happen versus what you want to see happen right now. Because you fire Ken Dorsey, you fire Matt Canada. Congratulations. You're not getting anybody better for the rest of the season. That's who you have. And you can make those changes at the end of the season if you'd like. But it ain't happening. And I don't think the Steelers are going to fire Matt Canada. I just don't. Who's coming in that's going to do a better job with that quarterback than the only offensive coordinator he knows for his entire career? There isn't anybody. He's not going anywhere. In fact, they promote him instead of entertaining your talk of firing him. I love it.
As we said, you can call us at 866-4FAN as Larry is calling us from Penfield. Hey, Larry.
Hey, Larry.
Hey, guys, love the show. So I'm a Steeler fan, and I'm on the Fire Canada bandwagon.
Of course you are.
I watched the game on Sunday, and they were blessed to win that game. If you watch that game, right, and I had money on the over. I teased it down to 27.5, and it landed on 27. Yeah. How am I doing?
I took the Steelers in the points. I wasn't complaining at all about the outcome.
Oh, my God. But come on, man. Baltimore had 8 dropped passes.
Yeah.
3 were wide open touchdowns. Aguilar had a touchdown up right in his hands that any one of us could have caught. They missed a field goal at the end of the first half. I don't know what they were doing on 4th and 2. They were trying to draw the offsides or something like that, and then they ended up going in and not getting any points.
Larry.
And then the whole second half, Baltimore didn't score 1 point. And one more thing about Canada, you can't run Najee Harris to get 2 yards, and then you put Pickens in a situation where and once they did start throwing the ball downfield, that's when they ended up showing up and winning the game, not giving the ball to Najee Harris for 2 yards. This isn't the Jerome Bettis Pittsburgh Steelers where we're going to grind it out on the ground and win games, by 10-3. This is the 2023 NFL. You got to throw the ball.
Larry, I'm going to blow your mind right now. I'm going to make I'm going to make you explode. Are you ready?
Yep.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are a playoff team.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I would take Cleveland over Pittsburgh in that division. I really would.
Wow.
Larry,
they're gonna find their way to the postseason, Larry. And I want you to call back into the sports bar and tell me how right I was.
Okay, hold on, guys. And then you know what's going to happen. We're going to and Tomlin. He's nothing what these guys have done. And here, Tomlin and Belichick. All right, and it's almost like these guys were geniuses in their day, but the game has passed them by. And as a Steeler fan, oh yeah, guess what? We made the playoffs for 15 years in a row or whatever. Tomlinson's got his record going. Yeah, that's great. But, you got to evolve with the game. You got to get faster. You got to throw the ball downfield, and you can't just run Najee Harris for 2 yards. Can't do it. Sorry, guys. Love your show. Talk to you later.
Appreciate you. That's Larry. That's a great call.
Does anybody else have the same thought? In Canada, and they got involved in the game. It sounds like Mr.
He's one
Mr.
of us.
Hobbs.
Absolutely. That's our guy.
Yeah, that's what are they doing there? You got to evolve.
Larry, I know you're a Steeler fan, so you're probably turned off by all the Bills talk on this show. That's fine, but feel free to call in anytime. You get VIP treatment. That was a fantastic call. Love the fire. And I'm telling you, and I've been saying it, you heard me say it, it was one of my they're a 10-win team. They're going to make it to the postseason. Steelers are going to be in the postseason.
And I'm going to dig in and say you're wrong because Kenny Pickett isn't good. I don't care what offensive coordinator. I don't care if Bill Walsh comes back to earth. You're not going to the postseason with that quarterback. And you want a good laugh? Man, if you subscribe to The Athletic, whoever covers the Steelers for The Athletic, I would take Kenny Pickett any day, a guy who wins over a quarterback that throws for 400 yards. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that 11 points. Actually, it was only 9 because you had the safety there. Whatever.
I want to go back and look at my bold prediction from the beginning of the season, from the preseason, where I said Steelers are a 10-win team. They'll find their way into the postseason. I remember thinking Pickett would probably be a leader on the offense. Maybe that part of it won't be accurate, but I'm going to hold true. I think they're a 10-win team, and I think they find themselves in the postseason.
It's good. You don't back down from a take.
No.
You stand by your take.
It's a bold prediction. And I think I made Larry drive off the road. You take the Browns over the Steelers in the division right now. Steelers, why do you hate your team so much? You're winning games. It doesn't matter how you win. You're winning games. It doesn't matter. You don't need style points. Run Najee Harris into the ground as long as you're winning games. Who cares?
Aaron writing in, I want McCarthy to stop plays. Okay, there's another fan base that's they've had it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a coordinator thing. You had Kellen Moore, but here's the thing with the Cowboys. If you're a yes man to Jerry, you can be like Garrett. You can just stay there. Wade stayed there. They all stay there way too long.
I just worry that you've got a head coach now who is imposing his will and his system on a quarterback that can't execute what you're asking him to do. And now, rational coaching would say, hey, I know the strengths and weaknesses of Dak. Let me exploit those strengths. Let me showcase those strengths and let's diminish those weaknesses. Instead, you're saying, this is my system. Follow it. And the guy can't follow it. And he's just not that good to start.
Okay. I'm going to switch gears here because Tim Graham is reporting something.
Oh, is this breaking news in the sports bar?
Ow. It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far.
Tim Graham, Bill's source tells me newly appointed COO John Roth and Senior VP General Counsel Catherine D'Angelo are both out from the Bills and Sabres organization.
Jesus.
Wait a second. John Roth was supposed to be the right-hand guy. That was Pagula's money guy.
Gone. Hasn't been there very long.
No.
Terry has just moved up to tier 1 in our billionaire owner a-hole tier. Tier 1.
No.
Can't keep employees in their positions. All right. We'll dig into that a little bit here. Let's take a break, come back with a round of shots.
Yeah, so we do have more hockey here tonight. So we'll set you up as you'll be able to watch this tonight, a little bit of it. Baseball as well. A familiar name to anybody who grew up in the 80s right now, battling for her life. And look, we like to make fun of Bob Costas here, but we got to give him a little bit of credit, I suppose.
Do we? Do we really?
I'll let you be the judge.
A round of shots on the way. Stand by. Last call coming up as well. You can join us at 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Fan Rochester.
The Bills had just a walkthrough today. Corner Dane Jackson, the only Bill not to participate. Jackson has a foot injury. A lot of injuries on this Bills team. Head coach Sean McDermott on what is behind the injured Daquan Jones.
You know, Jordan Phillips has been here a long time and maybe 2 different stints, but he's been here for quite some time, and he knows Ed, and so does Tim, and so does Puna for that matter.
Jones and Matt Milano going on injured reserve. Balin Spector activated, also elevated today. A.J. Klein from the practice squad. Giants maybe without their quarterback. Daniel Jones not practicing today. If Jones cannot go, it'll be Tyrod Taylor starting against his former team. Tim Graham of The Athletic reporting that the newly appointed COO of the Bills and Sabres, John Roth, has left the team. Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
From the field to the court to the rink, the Sports Leader is there. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
I know a lot of people are throwing different ideas of what he was mad at on the sideline. He was mad at himself for running the wrong release on a route. So he's a competitor. He's a fiery competitor. I'm tired of hearing all this nonsense from people because there's a lot of guys in the league that have that same fire that don't get talked about. But he's a lot of our juice on the sideline. Making sure that the offense is staying up and as energized as possible, and we feed off of that. So obviously we want to play better. We want to win every single game that we play in. But in terms of last week, it's in the past, and we've learned from it. We're moving on, and we got to utilize what we learned from it going forward.
That's Josh Allen earlier today. Yeah, everybody wants to make something of Diggs and Allen. When you see Diggs upset, he's mad at Josh Allen. Oh, that's Steph Diggs. He just doesn't want to be in Buffalo. And Josh Allen kind of putting an end to all of that, a stop to all of that. Stop the hype.
Do you feel like somehow the national media doesn't listen to people who actually cover the team?
No, they're not close to it, but it's a convenient and easy thing for them to latch on to. And let's face it, it's explosive. It's salacious. Oh, there's drama? Let's exploit that drama. There's no drama. I don't get the sense that whatever happened at the end of last year, I think is done. I don't think they need to keep talking about it. I think we've moved on, and they've moved on. And Josh is right. Like, now you have a right to be pissed off if people keep bringing it up. There's nothing there. Diggs is what you want. You want 100 of those guys that want to win at all costs on your sideline.
I think Josh Allen is mature in this sense because if you're an NFL quarterback, you're a leader at any level, there's so much you could respond to. You really got to pick and choose your spots. And, good for him. Okay, yeah, that one I'm going to respond to. Not true. No score between the Braves and the Phillies. They're in Philadelphia. This is Game 3, tied at 1-1. Danger. I wish, actually, this was the World Series. I'm looking at all the potential matchups right now for the World Series, and to me, best of 5, this feels like it's going to go 5. I want 7 here between these two teams.
You saw it on Sunday night when the Cowboys and the Niners played. I mean, you remember those NFC championship games between those two teams back in the day, and that felt like the Super Bowl, right? You just knew, whoever they play in the AFC, it doesn't matter. They're just going to, these games are going to be better than what you see in the Super Bowl, and they were in a lot of cases. So I have a feeling you're right. This series could go 5, and
then if the Diamondbacks, which I wouldn't surprise me, they could flick away, the Phillies or Braves, the Diamondbacks like a bug here. That's a third game tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say, what were PJ's best bets here? So I think he said he likes he likes the Braves tonight. He likes the over in the Diamondbacks Dodgers game. And there was, and he likes the Twins tonight. He thinks the Twins will win on the money line with an under set at 8.5 right now.
Yeah, that's 7:07 tonight for Astros and Twins. Game 4, Minnesota needing a win to stay alive. It'll be Houston's Jose Urquidy going against Joe Ryan of the Twins. This game in Minnesota, the winner of that game will face the Texas Rangers. My goodness, they made quick work of the Orioles. The Rangers in the ALCS. At 9:07 tonight, it's the Dodgers needing a win to stay alive, and they're going to send Lance Lynn to the mound. Okay, good luck. Diamondbacks going with Brendan Pfaadt. Arizona up 2-0. Who is the most hated offensive coordinator in football today?
Can we pull Larry from where was Larry from? Penfield?
Yeah, the fact that the Penguins in their season opening game last night, fans started chanting "Fire Canada."
So great.
Steeler fans get a break this week. Their team is on the bye. As far as the NHL, there are 6 more games tonight. Doubleheader on TNT. The Bruins hosting the Blackhawks at 7:30. Are you upset, Danger, that the Blackhawks are playing back-to-back nights here to open?
Not upset at all. And in fact, the Blackhawks have 5 straight road games to start their season.
It's
tough. I think that's the longest road stretch to start a season in the franchise's history. But Connor Bedard was fun last night. He gets his first NHL point, getting an assist on one of the goals last night. And you mentioned the Fire Canada chant. I mean, the Blackhawks were the team that played spoilers to the Penguins at the end of last season, and they played spoilers to them again last night in Pittsburgh.
There are going to be other games tonight, including this one on TNT. LA Kings at home against Colorado, 10 o'clock. Tonight, the Leafs host the Canadiens. Carolina's home against the Dandelions, Ottawa Sens. Other games in Canada feature Winnipeg and Calgary. Edmonton is at Vancouver. The Sabres, by the way, tomorrow night will open up at home against the Rangers.
All right, couple of plays. I like the Kings on the money line. I think you can get plus money value there. I told Dan DeLorean this, and he almost he gets so mad at me when I say, you know what I'm doing tonight, Dan? I'm taking the Sens on the money line against the Stanley Cup favorite.
You're master stroking this.
No, I'm not. I think that this.
That's how Dan DeLorean views
right,
it, yeah.
right. But whenever the Sens play, I look at the value that is there when you consider the high, variability of any NHL game. Like Ottawa can surprise some people. I'll take Ottawa on the money line against Carolina at home. And I also think Edmonton is going to make quick work of Vancouver. I like Edmonton minus 1.5 goals on the puck line tonight.
Would it surprise you, because I was looking at BetMGM for futures, right? And as far as odds to win the Stanley Cup, Sabres are plus 4,000. Okay. Ottawa's at plus 4,000 too. You're
that doesn't surprise me.
Wait a second. There should be more of a gap here, but there's not.
Ottawa's sneaky good. Ottawa and the Sabres are 2 teams that could find themselves in the playoffs. When you think of the perennial teams that are in the postseason that might maybe just missed out last year or were jettisoned quickly. I think of old teams like Pittsburgh, old teams like Washington.
Yeah.
The Sabres and the Sens are 2 teams that could find themselves in the postseason.
Yeah, and I look at the Rangers too. I'm like, are they good or not? I don't know. That would be nice to get 2 points if you're Buffalo.
We'll find out tomorrow night.
Yeah, Mary Lou Retton remains in intensive care, fighting for her life. This, according to her daughter, says her mom has a very rare form of pneumonia and is not able to breathe on her own. The sad part here is Mary Lou Retton has a GoFundMe set up to cover her medical expenses. That's the part of the story you wouldn't expect, because honestly, she's the answer to a trivia question. Who was the first female athlete on the cover of a Wheaties box? That was Mary Lou Retton. At age 16, she was the first American to win the individual gymnastic event. That was the 84 Games in Los Angeles.
That's sad. I'm trying to imagine how much money she made in endorsements, because she was everywhere, man. She was America's sweetheart, and she was endorsing everything, and she doesn't have money now for her medical expenses?
Yeah, this is the daughter putting this out
what
there.
What happened? How did that happen?
This is a common thing, Danger.
I know,
but
they should teach kids in school, and I guess she didn't go to school, so she would know this, but how to manage your money, how to understand the value of money, and how to grow money, and how to make money work for you. They should teach that. That should be something that's taught.
You're 16 and you have the world handed to you, and then what? But still, she is such a name. I want to say she's been in Rochester for luncheons and whatnot. She's been in town over the years, and the fact that you have this story. And
well, it's shocking on many levels. One, I didn't know she was fighting for her life. That's terrible, and we wish her hopefully a speedy recovery here, because you hate to hear that. But I'm shocked that there's a GoFundMe to cover medical expenses for somebody who back then was the biggest celebrity for a period of time, the biggest celebrity in America.
I would think the residuals, at least, because every Christmas that comes on, you're always watching Scrooged, and there she is playing Tiny Tim in that movie.
Yeah.
It's like she's on for 2 seconds, but I would figure at least you're getting a check every December when that comes on.
Right.
Finally, we like to poke fun at Bob Costas here in the sports bar. Well, he could be a bit sanctimonious,
little man, just yeah.
Yeah, but, a lot of people love him because he went to Syracuse and he loves baseball. But let's give credit where credit is due. He was in Syracuse 2 weeks ago. A friend is sitting next to him at a restaurant, and all of a sudden the friend stands up and his face is red. He's choking. That's when Costas got up and did the Heimlich. and everything was okay. On the New York Post podcast, Costas downplaying it, saying, I don't know if I saved his life, but I saved him from considerable discomfort, that's for sure.
No, he's such a hero. Well, that's good. That's good that he was able to do that. And I'm just kind of curious how he was able to get his arms around another man to perform the Heimlich. Did he have to stand up on a chair to give the other man the Heimlich? You could also give it, I suppose, you could just bend the guy in front of you over a chair and push his back.
I guess so.
Maybe that's the way he did it.
Or maybe, I thought there was another way, too. You could just take your palm and whack somebody in the back, too. That also was one way they taught us.
Do you miss Costas at all on your broadcast of choice? I don't. I mean, when he calls a baseball game, I'm fine with it.
Baseball, that's it. But it was always...
That's all he's doing now, right?
Yeah,
it's just a baseball game here or there.
Think of it this way. He was the voice on NBC Halftime where they let him to do a commentary.
It was his editorial.
Yeah. And then, half the time it was putting the NFL in a bad light. And funny how that kind of ended up.
And he just disappeared.
Yeah.
You stick to baseball, little man. We'll come back next with Last Call in the Sports Bar. 866-4326-585, 866-4FAN as the Braves take a 1-0 lead here on the Phillies, top of the third.
It feels like a World Series the way they're fired up every Ozzie Albies with the RBI.
And a lot of energy at Citizens Bank Park as well. We'll keep you updated on that score here as we wrap up and close up shop next in the Sports Bar with your calls. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. It's me, Danger, for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 95.7 The Fan. Join me right now on FanDuel. If you're a new customer, you get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets. Play around, win or lose. Now, if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, no better time to get in on the action than right now on an app that is super easy to use with a wide range of betting options, everything from spreads to player props, over-unders, and more. Here's the site to get started. Visit FanDuel.com/Mike, M-I-K-E, FanDuel.com/Mike to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country and get the
7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
All right, well, we have just a second here. I can't believe he calls us for last call at 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326. I mean, I thought the Bills were going to go undefeated.
Not 2 losses.
Well, 2 losses. I mean, John from Rochester, yet you still show your face in the sports bar after proclaiming that this is a team that was going to go undefeated. How are you, John?
Well, I'm doing good. Well, they can run the table.
Yeah,
well, you know,
of course.
Josh Norman and Trey White, I think they could be recycled as safeties. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you brought that up last week when we you weren't here, Gino. You cut out early last week, and John called in and said Trey White. You know, when he comes back from his Achilles injury, what do you think about him as a safety?
You might have to do that because of cap reasons.
But I'm curious as to where you've seen that happen and how it worked if it did happen. I just don't think you see it happen ever.
Rod Woodson in Pittsburgh is the shining example of that. Like he was like one of the best corners in the game, knee injury, then had a second life as a safety. So that has happened before. Jordan Poyer came into the league as a corner and like, okay, this isn't working. He figured it out. But I think the clean and easy way, John, appreciate the call. You're going to move on from Trey White because of the cap. That's kind of the way it is. It's a $10 million dead cap figure, but it's much, much more than that to carry him as a safety or as a corner that's coming back from another knee injury who, knowing by Tre'Davious White, like, it sounds cruel, but they're going to have to come to some injury settlement.
Boy, I hate to hear that, but yeah. I think based on what you saw from his reaction leaving the field, the emotion of that reaction goes beyond just, I know my season is over.
It's like my time in Buffalo is over.
My time is up. My time is up. And I think he kind of recognized that. Brutal. Tomorrow, 3:25, we'll set your Week 6 fantasy football lineups with Andy Behrens from Yahoo Fantasy Sports. Love having Andy on with us. What a treat that is. And also, it is Sabres opening night. Lance Lysowski covers the team for the Buffalo News. Our buddy will be joining us at 4:25, and we'll preview the upcoming season for the blue and gold.
Yeah, that is going to be...
Sorry, did I just say blue and gold? Blue and yellow. I know my colors.
Your tongue.
It's blue and yellow.
They are the blue and gold. Mike Danger, don't you blasphemy.
Blue and yellow.
Blasphemy.
Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Check us out on the Odyssey app. Search out the Sports Bar. Zach Gelb next on The Fan.
Odyssey has sports for every fan.